The Divine Constitution of Moorish America. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day. All Muslims all over the world. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality. We are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are not, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Islam.
Islam.
From the prophet to be read in every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as an American citizen, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing this nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work, in which I have performed in the last few months, because I was at the inauguration, the governor's inauguration, to represent the Moorish and Divine National Movement, and I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover for the same. Let me send that link. Send it. Did you get it? Yeah, oh, okay. All right, go ahead, Brother Salim.
Islam.
Uh,
Peace and love, nobles. Happy holy day. Supreme honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Going to read from the Circle 7 Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the Supreme Noble Prophet Drew Ali, by the guidance of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Chapter 12. Jesus tells the common people at a spring, tells them how to obtain eternal happiness. In silent meditation, Jesus sat beside a flowing spring. It was a holy day, and many people of the servant caste were near the place. And Jesus saw the hard-drawn lines of toil on every brow and every hand. There was no look of joy in any face. Not one of all the group could think of anything but toil. And Jesus spoke to one and said, "Why are you so sad? Have you no happiness in life?" The man replied, We scarcely know the meaning of that word. We toil to live and hope for nothing else but toil. And blessed the day when we can cease our toil and lay down the rest in Buddha's city of the dead. And Jesus' heart was stirred with pity and with love for these poor toilers. And he said, Toil should not make a person sad. Men should be happy. Men should be happiest when they toil. When hope and love are back of toil, then all of life is filled with joy and peace in this heaven. Do you not know that such a heaven is for you? The man replied, Of heaven we have heard, but when it is so far away, we must live so many lives before we reach that place. And Jesus said, My brother man, your thoughts are wrong. Your heaven is not far away, and it is not a place of meters and bounds. It is not a country to be reached. It is a state of mind. Allah never made a heaven for man. He never made a hell. We are creators and make our own. Now cease to seek for heaven in the sky. Just open up the windows of your hearts, and like a flood of light, a heaven will come and bring a boundless joy. Then the toil will be no cruel task. The people were amazed and gathered close to hear this strange young master speak, imploring him to tell them more about the Father God Allah, about the heaven that men can make on earth, about the boundless joy. And Jesus spake a parable. He said, A certain man possessed a field. The soil was hard and poor. By constant toil, he scarcely could provide food to keep his family from want. One day a miner could see beneath the toil and passing on his way saw this poor man in his unfruitful field. He called the weary toiler and said, My brother, know you not that just below the surface of your barren field rich treasures lie concealed? You plow and sow and reap in a scanty way, and day by day you tread upon a mine of gold and precious stones. This wealth lies not upon the surface of the ground, but if you will dig away the rocky soil and delve down deep into the earth, you need no longer till the soil for naught. The man believed. The miner surely knows, and I will find the treasures hidden in my field. And then he dug away the rocky soil, and deep down in the earth he found a mound of gold, a mine of gold. And Jesus said, The sons of men are toiling hard on desert plains and burning sands and rocky soils, and doing what their father did, not dreaming that they can do aught else. Behold, the master comes and tells them of a hidden wealth, that underneath rocky soil of corner things are treasures that no man can count. That in the heart the richest gems abound, that he who wills may open the door and find them all. And then the people said, Make known to us the way, that we may find the wealth that lies within the heart. And Jesus opened up the way. The toilers saw another side of life, and toil became a joy. Islam.
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 Islam, more peace and love. Happy holy day, Muslims, Moabites, nobles, Islam, supreme love. Honors to the Prophet.
Islam,
Islam.
everybody.
Islam, Muslim.
Yes, happy holy day.
Happy holy day.
Inshallah, everyone's having a blissful holy day. You know what I'm saying? Hope everybody, you know what I mean, while it came out for that second, got some sun wherever you was at in the world. You know what I mean?
It was a split second.
Yeah, for real.
But I just want to just do a little, review on this chapter. So, our brother Salim was reading. It was people toiling or working hard for the wrong reasons, right? But once you chisel your heart, and get past the unnecessary stuff. That's where the real gems is at, the real gold mine, right? That's your take, Brother Salim, on this chapter?
Islam, absolutely. He was pointing out the irony of, that they see it as something so negative when in essence it's something to appreciate. It's something, you work hard so you can actually appreciate the good things in life, and the peace and the heaven. It's the irony of it all. Yeah. So absolutely he threw the parable out there just to make them understand from a different perspective. Absolutely, Islam.
Jalissa, Islam, happy holy day.
Islam, happy holy day.
Any other thoughts on this chapter?
Islam. It reminded me of this something I kind of thought about a while back. It's good that it reminded me because a lot of people complain about work, and I just I remember telling myself, like, I was saying, like, how we refer to it as slaving or whatever. I was like, should at least be happy when you change your perception. I'm at least grateful that I have a body to slave with, because some people, like, I've been to TJ, to Tijuana. It's not too far from San Diego, just right over the border. You see, it's a lot more common to see people over there missing limbs, legs, arms, hands, eyes. So it's like, some people probably wish they could work and toil, but they can't. So they have no choice but to be beggars. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on that.
That's interesting. Anybody else got happy holy day, brother Cairo L, brother Benjamin Bay, Islam. Happy holy day. Brother Rashad L, Islam, happy holy day. Who else? Did I greet everybody? Greet everybody. All right, you got something queued up, Alnur?
Islam, yeah, I gotta just share the screen. I'm trying to get some other stuff ready. I just ran in here. Yeah.
Jerry Bay, Islam, happy holy day. All right, let me
Islam Nobles, happy holy day, Morris. Peace and love.
Peace and love, Jerry.
all right, let me give you access. Share your mother. Yeah, you should be able to share your screen now, Alnur.
Islam, peace, more. Can we see? Islam. So I got a lot of stuff open up here. I was a little scatterbrained and going a lot of different places with this but I know last week we started on the 101s, but I was going to go into what did you open up with more?
Can you bring the broom in here?
Holy Quran, Divine Constitution in the Holy Quran, chapter 12.
Okay, bet. All right, so I just wanted to go into some more of the we're gonna go into this one world Tartaria when the Moors lived in peace and harmony with the Moors and Tartarians. I wanted to go into that, but I was gonna kick it off with some of this. We already know the chapter 47 and 45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nation. I don't know, it's probably small for everybody. I can't really see my screen, so bear with me, y'all.
I can see it.
Okay, so the divine origin, all right, circle 7, Quran by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, 45, the divine origin of the Asiatic nation. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate and know yourself and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for the teaching and instructing of all Moorish Americans, etc. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations, the Moorish, who were ancient Moabites, and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. The Egyptians, who were the Hammatites and of a direct descent of Mizraim and Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese and Chinese. The Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites of the land of Canaan. The Asiatic nations of North, South, and Central America, the Moorish Americans and Mexicans of North America, Brazilians, Argentinians, Chileans, and South Americas, Colombians, Nicaraguans, and the natives of the San Salvador and Central, etc. All of these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islam creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad I, the founding of the uniting of Islam by the command of the great universal God Allah. And so that was in chapter 45. So then going into this chapter 47 with Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. So the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and south, after north and northwest and southwest as father dominion of Africa. West was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them, the Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in the inhabitant of Northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren, who sojourned from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. So those are 47 and 45 coming out of that, right? Out of the Morse Holy Quran, right? So
I just want to ask you a question
go ahead.
because I'm a new student. It's the first time I heard this. So basically, Cush's father, Ham, was in Northwest Africa, which
was connected. When you hear that, everything is connected. This Pangea at the time, but it's all Asia at the same thing, which is why we're Asiatics. But when that split come during the earthquakes, because there's multiple mass extractions, catastrophic constructions going on different times, and at a time where it was breaking the world apart, like, and everybody was going their way. But when you hear Africa or Northwest Africa, you're essentially talking about the Americas, because that was all together.
that's what I was okay. All right, Islam.
Islam. Go ahead, more Islam. Okay.
I know I did have some input.
Go ahead, more.
When I was I had moved back to Texas, El Paso, Texas, and I was like, a teenager. And my pops used to take us out there, shooting just out there in the desert. And one time we were out there, it's a big military base, so we've seen a lot of tanks and stuff like that. But we came across this gazelle type animal. I'm not even sure what it was, but it looked like it was straight out of Africa. Like, had straight horns, black horns with grooves on them. And it was brown. I don't know. I wouldn't know the scientific name for it, but when I did ask one of the the people out there, they said that they had brought them because we went on a what's it called, a tour, and they were telling us about the Jaguarundi, which is another cat that looks like a jaguar, smaller, darker. But that he also did bring up that one, the antelope that I'm talking about, and he said that they brought him during one of the conquests that the Europeans brought them over here. But to me, that never made any sense. And now that I know that this is West Africa, it's like, it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm. For sure, because the Americas, right, are the first lands to come up out of the water. You know what I'm saying? Which is something they also don't teach. They don't tell you that, these are the first waters, the first lands that come up out of the waters and then extend it, So that's
Sir.
why.
Yes, sir. No, I was just because it's like that was my firsthand experience type of thing. And I didn't, back then I was young. We didn't know anything about what I know now. And also out here, they try to say, like I'm in Arizona now, but, they try to say that the Mustangs and those wild horses out here, that they brought them over here too from, during the Spanish brought them over here. But, to get back to what, topic, it's like, how are you going to bring all these things and claim you brought all these things when in reality they were already all here?
Yes, basically what they did was graphing, you know what I'm saying, to attach themselves to everything that was already here. So think about you breaking off a tree branch from one tree, and then you go to another tree, and then you cut a wedge in it, and then you put that other branch into it, and you glue it in there. You know what I'm saying? So basically they attached themselves onto what was already here and started like, all right, well, now we're going to say this is that, that's that, and we name all the things. Because remember, Adam was Adam was the first one to name everything. You know what I'm saying? So essentially our ancestors already put the names and put all these things on us for us to, know what things are. So yeah, that was part of their, oh yeah, that's the pump fake, make you go left and they go right. You know what I'm saying? Make it look like everything's over there, but really it was already here.
Another thing is that one time I went out there, to visit you guys in Cali. When we were on the beach, I seen this bird. Because like I said, I've always been like in tune with nature, and I seen this bird. It looked exactly like what's it called? The bird from the Falcon of Horus.
Uh-huh.
We were on the beach, and I seen that it was like an all white falcon, and it had and at first I thought it was a seagull, but then it came closer, and I got a good look at it, and I saw the beak had that little raptor curvature to it. And bro, it's like,
I seen a meme that made a claim that the godheads of the Egyptian gods are animals that are found in the Americas.
Yep. They try to say that there's crocodiles, and there's crocodiles here in Mexico, in Florida. American crocodiles.
Yeah.
There's just not as many anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I just closed out the other what's that?
That's cool in the Quran how they say, because Ham is Cush's father. So Ham is from Northwest, which would mean that's the older part of the world, It's very simple,
Very simple, very, very, very simple. But it's just that our people don't know, like, you know what I mean? This was all connected. This is all still connected, you know what I mean? But they not giving us that true perspective of the history, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was gonna go into the Great War. Oh, no, where's that? Okay, right here. So Ethiopian Moore Bible is the oldest and most complete Bible on the earth. You know what I mean? We talking about, Ham and Cush and all that. And here goes some more information on it. So the Ethiopian Moore Bible is the oldest and most complete Bible on the earth, written in Ge'ez, an ancient dead language of Ethiopia. It's nearly 800 years older than the King James Version and contains over 100 books compared to 66 of the Protestant Bible. My bad, excuse my verbiage. Ethiopia is Moore's original land of the Kush, in North Africa. So basically, what we was just talking about, Cush, right? Ham and his son Cush. So they put the Bible in perspective of it being over there and coming out of that. So in North Africa. So we see the first and original, the Bible came out of the Moors, native lands, and have been left out of Roman Christian teachings. The Roman Catholic King James Version Bible also omitted over 20 Bibles from the how you say that? Apocryphal? Apocryphal?
Yeah.
The Apocrypha. The Apocrypha.
There you go. There you go. Apocrypha. Man, when you start trying to learn Latin and all these other languages, I'm getting tongue twisted like crazy. So because go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, go ahead. I was saying PH is fuck. Like Phoenix is PH.
Yeah. Yeah, because it uses languages like the king of God. It uses language like the king of God is inside you, and you will reincarnate many times. And the Roman Catholic Church would lose all power and control and wealth. So they had to omit these teachings of earlier Bibles during the Third Concile of the Nicene in 325 AD, according to the Roman calendar year. So the Apocryphal, right, Acts purport to relate the lives or careers of various biblical figures, including most of the apostles, the apostles, the epistles, gospels, and other are ascribed to such figures. Some relate encounters and events and mystical language and describe Acrean rituals. The Vatican reasoned that no printing of the Apocryphal within the Bible would prove to be less costly to produce, like they couldn't afford it. So basically, they wasn't trying to put our information in the book because they knew we was putting out stuff like this. Then the king committed Abid Melich, the Black Moor, saying, "Take from hence 30 men with thee, and take Jeremiah the prophet out of the dungeon before he die." And Abid Melich, the Black Moor, said unto Jeremiah, Put now these old rotten rags and worn under thine arm holes between the cords of Jeremiah, and said, why that shit covered out? No, too sure. Okay. So basically, we know about the Bible, the Bible, the Heliobiblios, the Latin book that they got us on where we be at, but they telling us right here in one world, when we was living in harmony with the Tartarians, that our brothers and sisters across the other way, that we was, you know what I'm saying? We was all on the same page, the same accord, right? Hebrews were Moors. They didn't call the Moors Hebrews in ancient times. The Geneva Bible also has the Apocrypha. As you can see, the word Moor can be found in this 1560 Geneva Bible. The title Moor was used instead. The title Moor was used instead as Hebrew, Cushite, or an Ethiopian. In fact, King James began being a Hebrew king, took out Moor from 1560 Geneva Bible and replaced it with Hebrew in his 1611 King James Version Bible, because he was a Hebrew king. Even the word Hebrew is derived from a combination of two Egyptian gods, Hathor, the mother of Mary, and Heru, the son of Heru, hero, Christ, or the creator, to create the word, Heru, which later became Hebrew. She was worshipped in Jerusalem. Her Greek name was Heba, Hercules, goddess, wife. If you pull up the Geneva Bible online, you can put the word Moor in the search engine and verify all the scriptures. When it comes to the Hebrew Israelites and Moorish Americans, there should be no debates. Moors, Moabites are Hebrews. Moabites were Hebrews before Jacob in the 12 tribes, for example. Abraham is the 6th generation Hebrew. The Moabites are the 8th generation Hebrews. Research Eber and the children of Eber. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was a Hebrew prophet. The Moorish Holy Quran mentions Hebrew a few times, and the science is shown in the Moorish 101 questions, which is why the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, Temple number 13, the Moorish American National Republic pushes the ancient Hebrew laws that deals with freedom, birthrights, and nationality. Constitutional law and why Moors are Hebrew Muslims of Moorish descent by nature. Prophet Noble Drew Ali came and tied in all the African, Kemetic, Egyptian, Hebrew, and Islamic connections all in one, because it began as one. Today we are scattered and debating amongst one another pieces of the same puzzle. As we stated earlier in this, it is just the lack of knowing global history, nationality, pre-slavery history, and blood lineage. World's first, world's first university founded by the Moor feminine. But as we just read, right? So we was Hebrew and Islamic, all that, everything is just jumbled up to have us not identifying as all one thing, because all things start with one. Yeah, I think it's ab antiqua, from many one, you know what I mean, in Latin, the Canaanite, Moorish, Phoenician, Egyptian, and Hebrew connection. King James, this is King James right here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but you know what I'm saying? So it's like King James was a king of Great Britain, France, and Ireland. He was a black man, and the King James Bible is named after King James, approved 54 scholars to work on the translation. 47 worked in 6 groups at 3 locations for 7 years, comparing previous English translations, Geneva Bible, and texts in original languages, Hebrew and Greek. The King James translation had significantly influence on the English language and was widely accepted as the standard English Bible because of the project being overseen by King James. And care and precise attention to detail during the 7-year translation, the King James Bible was considered one of the most accurate transitions. But as we see, he's a Moor. He's not these Albions, hybrid Europeans that we've been thinking Moors are, right? So let's go ahead and keep going down. I wanted to, okay. No. Where we at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where you go? Okay. So now we know that. Now we have more, right? So what does more mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us be like, oh yeah, you know, it means this, it means that, you know. Well, let's go in this author, you know what I'm saying? And just check this out. More originally meant Westerner. Well, where's the Maghreb? The most farthest west. Sound like some Westerners to me. So the Moor originally meant Westerner, not black, Negro, or colored. The etymology of the word Moor can be traced to the Phoenician term Morian, meaning Westerner. The Semitic etymon Morian referred to the people of the West, and the terms Maghrib meant the West, or the place where the sun sets, and the greater Maghrib referred to further west, while Maghrib el Alaska meant the extreme west. According to Lawrence Waddle, early Phoenician titles such as Meru, Mer, or Maratu can be translated as meaning of the Western Sea or Sea of the Setting Sun. Akkadian Amaru occurs as geographical term meaning literally the West. The Sumerian, the Amorites, were known as the Martu or the Tinum, and Akkadian by the name of Amaru, and an Egyptian as Amar, all of which means Westerners, or those of the West. It must be noted the Hebrew term Marib, Mariba, and Marabi also mean West. The Hebrew Maher, Moor, also means Westerner. Not Jamaicans, not Nigerians, nor Americans. The brown skin, aka the Moors or Tartarians, are from the most ancient times. Yamoros, Mers, Mawus, the children of the light, the bearers of civilization and compassion, and golden ones, the first people, Ethiopian, the first people, compassions, the golden ones, the first people, Ethiopians, Mauritanians, and Mauritanians. The pale ones, the blanks, stole their names and pretended and referenced only some Arab Muslims' conquest of Spain. The Greeks knew the Moors, the Romans knew the Mortals, and the ancient Indians and the Chinese too, because ancient Egyptians called their land Tamari or Tamaru, the land of the Moors. They were the seamen who navigated the flat earth and brought light to all African Americans, also referred to as Black Americans or Afro Americans, are an ethnic group of Americans with partial or total ancestry from any of the Black racial groups of Africa, yet applied to native brown skins of original American ancestry. Colored or colored is an ethnic descriptor historically used in the United States, predominantly during the Jim Crow era and countries, because of the combination of ethnicities. Different families and individuals within a family may have a variety of different physical features. Colored was a legally defined racial classification during apartheid. Mulatto, the English term in spelling mulatto, is derived from the Spanish and Portuguese mulatto. The common understanding is a child born from the Black and white parents. In the 1860s, the Copperheads, also known as a Peace Democrat, were a faction of Democrats in the Union who opposed the American Civil War and wanted an immediate peace settlement with the Confederates. Republicans started calling anti-war Democrats Copperhead, framing them as a venomous snake of the species Agistrodon. Anybody get this? What's this? Agistrodon Contorix, whose common name is Copperhead. Those Democrats accepted the label, reinterpreting the Copperhead as the likeness of liberty, which they cut from Liberty Head large cent coins and proudly wore as badges. The Copperheads became a major target in the National Union Party in 1864 presidential election, where they were used to discredit the main Democratic candidates. Copperheaded support increased when Union armies did poorly and decreased when they won great victories. After the fall of Atlanta in September 1864, the Union military success seemed assured and Copperheadism collapsed. Secret societies formed. The Copperhead Party, the largest Copperhead group, was the Knights of the Golden Circle, formed in Ohio in 1850. It became politicized in 1861. It recognized as the Order of American Knights in 1863, and again in early 1864 as the Order of the Sons of Liberty. In addition to control both sides of the debate, as done still to this day, the Know Nothing Party was created in 1850 by secret societies as well. 5 Copperhead blood American presidents, according to research by several U.S. historians and a Jamaican scholar, Barack Obama was actually the 6th so-called Black person to become president of the U.S. presidents. Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, Warren Harding, Calvin Coolidge, and Dwight Eisenhower. And then you can't forget about John Hanson no more. All had native brown skin ancestry. Thomas Jefferson's mother, part Black, part so-called Black, Thomas Jefferson's mother was part Black, as was his father. Mr. Jefferson was described once by a political rival as the son of a half-breed Indian squaw and a Virginia mulatto father to hide his black past. The third president had all portraits of his mother, Jane, destroyed after her death, according to another Samuel Salon. Under the U.S. racial classification, anyone who has even one drop of black blood or as any black ancestry, no matter how far in the past, is considered to be black. Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president. Wait, Abraham Lincoln, America's 16th president, was nicknamed Abraham Africanus, was described as having dark skin and coarse hair by his political enemies. After Lincoln's freed slaves in 1863, political rivalry, Chauncey Burr said sarcastically that Lincoln should be Lincoln should be forgiven for showing natural sympathy with his own race. Andrew Jackson, America's 7th president, was, according to the 1921 article in Virginia Magazine of History, the son of an Irish woman who married a light-skinned black man, Calvin Coolidge. The 30th president is the only one of the presidents said to have black ancestry to express pride in his own white ancestry. Mr. Coolidge didn't admit to having African blood, though he said, according to reports, that his mother had curly dark hair and dark skin because she was part Indian. America's 34th president, Dwight Eisenhower, was the son of a light-skinned black people passing for white, according to a book by Osset Bakufu. It has said that people who knew Eisenhower's mother described her as the Black Lynx gal. Of all the presidents said to be black, Warren G. Harding, the 29th president, is the most intriguing. It's claimed he was the son of a part black man and grandson of the black woman who came to America from West Indies. And interesting, Mr. Harding, who attended a college founded to educate blacks, never denied he was black. Negro from Wikipedia, an English language Negro term historically used to denote persons considering of black. So we gonna Eisenhower. We know who that is, right? And what he did, right?
And real quick, this the Copperheads, how I said it represent liberty, right?
Right. Who's the Copperheads?
But that's why they cracked the what?
The bell.
Bell.
Right? Liberty Bell, right? But
you stand up.
I thought I had a picture right here on somewhere. Yeah, but also the Copperheads, the Liberty, Statue of Liberty, what's she wearing? You know what I'm saying? The copper on her head, right? And that goes because what was here in America, all the copper, right? The copper, the gold, and everything else. Okay. Now, so that I wanted to, jump into this.
Islam, may I say something real quick?
Oh, go ahead, more. Go ahead. Yeah, I don't mind. Just tap in when y'all can. I know I don't be, hey, yo, y'all got any on that? I'm flowing. So go ahead, more. Yeah, Islam.
I was just saying, like, how you brought up the Liberty, Statue of Liberty, and it being copper. Copper rust. When it rusts, it turns green.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, Horus was often depicted as being green.
Right. Yeah, sure enough, right. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then think about today, you wear the copper, what it do to your skin when you wear it all day and you sweating. Turn your skin green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of in our DNA.
And then I think Eisenhower, that's the same Eisenhower from AA22141.
And that's what I was typing into, but I was looking for my phone. Down when I can't. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because what did he do? What also did he do? You know what I'm saying? Title 22. You know what I mean? Because that was him relinquishing jurisdiction of the United States and where? Morocco. You know what I'm saying? So when he did that, that was like them basically saying, like, yeah, we know that y'all Moors and y'all the true heirs and possessors of this, but what's wrong with us today? We ain't got unity. And since we don't have that unity amongst our people, we can't collectively go do things that would actually move us forward as the clean and pure nation, like the prophet is, that's in his prophecy. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't been done yet because we still ain't united. You know what I mean? As one, but essentially that's basically what it is coming back to. You know what I mean? So as we heard in that last book, One World America, when Moors and Tartarians lived in harmony, the Hebrews and all that. So I'm gonna go into this language out of the torch, so that we could see how vast and where we was at with just being everywhere on the dialects, and how it was easy for them to, put us in this mental state of thinking that, oh yeah, we all just different people and we something else, and nah, we all one. You know what I'm saying? In this language portion of the torch, shout out to all the Moors on all these books and everything too. So language, right? In ancient times past, Moors spoke a minimum of 5 different languages or dialects as we were travelers and merchants. So inter-tribal communications was vitally important. Moors brought gifts of language, and English itself is truly a combination of all languages streaming from the ancient roots of Sanskrit, Hebrew, quote unquote, etc. So even today, we are multi-tangled through where I go? Okay, so even today we are multilingual. There we go. Multilingual. I'm tripping. Multilingual through, though we are unaware of that fact. Plus, this is why when asked, most of the Moors from around the world will say that English is the hardest or one of the most difficult to learn due to the aforementioned reason, reason and all the grammatical technicalities that come along with it. We use different languages for different functions in civilization. For example, Hebrew, we use to invoke the metaphysical, spiritual, and so, metaphysical dictionary, you use that, when you're reading the Quran, you use that when you're reading the Heliobiblios, but that metaphysical is important because that's dealing with the divine part of things. So, which is that spirituality, fourth dimension, you know what I mean? How do we get into that? Like by, you know what I'm saying? Meditation, being in one's true self and knowing self, right? So the essence of nature and the ancestral spirits, right? Arabic was more so used for the science of mathematics, i.e., architecture, angles, and such. And Latin used to Latin, native language. The prophet said Moors learn Spanish, which is Latin, right? And we use Latin to codify jurisprudence. Why? Why is Latin jurisprudence? Because all law is law. Latin, when you read the fourth law, Black's Law, fourth addiction, you'll see it's based in Latin. Why? How powerful that is. And Latin we use to codify jurisprudence. Other dialects, such as French and Italian, used as romance or courtship tongues, hence why both are considered language of love. And in both languages, amour means love. And in all actuality, these dialects were just that, as opposed to what later becomes brands signifying culture to classify different sects of Moors. For example, Ibri means crossing, those who came from the other side, which describes the migration of Moors from the east to west, which we did regularly before the Great Divide separation of the land. So what's the divide? Dividing of Ham and Cush, right? Because during these strathic catastrophe earthquakes happening, you know what I mean, that separation, pushing the lands apart. Of the lands between father and son, Ham and Cush, it is not in itself and an identity or actual belief. Shit, move this. My bad. I'll move this. All right, there we go. So rather it was something we did, whereas those who crossed the river before it became an ocean were called Ibri, which in modern times was angelicized into Hebrew, but there is no H in the original dialect lexicon. Another example, Arab can be translated into wanderers of the desert. Arab can be translated into wanderers of the desert, which describes the nomads of the region. And Bedounis, and again points to a doing, not an actual classification, which was later used to divide the peoples of the earth. In studying both dialects, you'll find that a lot of the words intertwine, this being because they are sister tongues and are both rooted in the ancient science and agriculture and mathematics. Keep in mind that no country conquers, civilizes another, and then adopts their cultures and customs. Therefore, the notion that we are named and given any language by the very same people, Albions, that we, Moors, civilize and redefine who were living in barns. Wait a minute, run this back a little bit. Keep in mind that no country conquers, civilize another, and then adopts their cultures and customs. So basically, they came over here, colonized our lands, 1492, and basically they're not going to teach you to be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, note the notion that we were named and given any language by the very same people, Albions, that we, Moors, civilized, because we brought them out of darkness. But when we hear about,
and that's where it comes to mixing, like
as
far as in the Magna Charta, you know what I mean? That's for their salvation.
Exactly.
But once you pray to their gods and things like that, that's when the mixing becomes.
Right. And that's when we started going after the gods of Europe and know nothing of our, you know what I'm saying? And steered away from our own, you know what I'm saying? So that's where we losing ourselves. So think about being so spiritual, because even during those times, during the 15, 16, and 1700s, we were at war with all those Albions and all those different nations, right? And basically they couldn't fuck with us. So then what happens? They send the missionary. What's the missionary? The missionary is the priest. You know what I'm saying? And here they come with their idols of God. You know what I'm saying? And their, you know what I mean? We just went through the oldest Bible, and what King James and them did. What did they do? They took the Geneva version. They pulled out they put out like 22 different Bibles at that time. So what they was doing was taking out the stuff that they essentially didn't want to help us get back to who we were. Is to keep us in that mind state of thinking that their God is the God. You know what I'm saying? But remember, Christianity was in Africa way before the Europeans. You know what I'm saying? Moors was Christians before Europeans, the hybrid Europeans at that.
Exactly, especially if you spell, because in the oldest Bibles, they spelled Jesus' name with an I first. So then you'll end up realizing that, it's still tied up to ISIS, and our religions come from Muslim law. You'll see it.
Right.
And that's the main thing. That's why they play games with the numbers, the letters, the vowels and stuff, But it's good to know that they're interchangeable, so that way you can understand it a little bit more,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So okay, so keep in mind that no country. Okay, so the Albions that were more civilized and redefined, who were living in barns and were literally, by the way, is a total fabrication and disregard of the greatest science known to man, common sense. You know what I mean? Where you get common sense from? Nature, Mother Earth, Mama, Gaia. You know what I mean? Mu, Mother's unity. So there has been a systematic dumbing down of the masses, especially the Asiatics of Northwestern Hemisphere, because as we go, so goes the world through the planet as whole. is continuing to shift its consciousness and vibration. So as we end this chapter, this is a quote from George Washington, the 9th president of the United States Incorporated. If we could agree to take the fezzes and turbans off the Moors' heads and remove the sandals from their feet and enforce severe punishment, and to also swear a death oath between ourselves and religiously and faithfully not allow anyone to teach the Moorish children, right? Because notice, they was already, at this time, they basically capturing us and killing us off, trying to torture us in front of our children and all that, to put the fear monger. But this time, they're going after the children. Don't teach the children. Why? If you don't teach the babies, how would they know who they are? You know what I'm saying? So Moorish children who their forefathers were, and only allow the Moorish children to be taught that they were truly Negroes, black people, and colored folks. 200 years from today, the Moorish people would not know their nationality nor the national name of their forefathers. They would not know from which land or ancestors that they were descended from. That's why we give praise and high honors to the prophet Noble Drew Ali, because what did he do? Come to wake us up. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get us thinking again. You know what I mean? And that was the whole purpose of Moors, to be in their divine, the divine self. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta get to this right here when we demanding ours. Like, this is what they got us at. But we came from this. Like, we started here. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit, my bad, y'all. We started as the emperors and the empresses, the goddesses, you know what I'm saying? And then of course, we fell all the way to this mental slavery state. You know what I'm saying? Went through all these different names of what they wanted to call us. You know what I mean? But this is from the
That's
more
the crazy part, bro. Like when I was doing the studying, like doing the going back on my path of bloodline. I seen when the first European got here. Well, I went through the census through England and all that stuff first, because they was doing the census. Like we didn't do none of that. And when you check the so-called United States census, it don't even start till like 1700. You see what I'm saying? So anything beyond that, you got to go somewhere else and get it. So that's what I did. So the European mixed in with us. All my family members' paper, they had white on there. They already knew about status. They knew everything. It was no problems. But soon they mixed in with the European, that they called themselves mulatto, the children. But that was still like a sign of more, like mulatto. But the meaning of it, changed over times. But we not mulattoes, we Moors.
Yeah.
You feel me? But yeah, man, I seen it. Went from mulatto, color, Negro, then black, then African American. You see, it's all been coined to make money. It's a marketing tool. They making money off us. They have everything, bonds, all this shit is real. Like, it's just how you get it. Exactly. That's what nobody hasn't figured out. We have a lot of ways, but show me the money. Like, you know what I mean? And nobody hasn't done that. That's why it's like, we have to focus on us and what we need to do.
Yeah.
Start self.
In the United States Census Bureau, that's where the reclassification started too. That's crazy. In 17 years.
But where did they get all that from? From the original caste system. You know what I'm saying? From us doing it with ourselves, and then they adopted it.
Every woman in my family that I searched down, it made known that that woman was a very intelligent, smart woman, like statues of these women.
Yeah,
you feel me?
I think they destroyed most of the things. We're gonna get into that next in a little bit. I'll go a little bit into that just because we're gonna talk about the Moabites. Well, one of them, the main one where we at in the territory of Khalifa. So this is from the Moorish Guide newspaper, right? So demanding ours. The idea inculcated, right, and the purpose of the Moorish Science Temple of America is to have everything that belongs to us as a nation that has come a part of another nation, just the same as all the other European groups are demanding. We must have the history of our forefathers taught to our children. We have ceased to calculate our history from the landing of the first 20 or the close of the Civil War, while all records of the tombs in the old world are proclaiming our glory to the nations. Glory to the nations. We have come now demanding that we be given credit for the great work done in the past by our ancestors. We are not asking others to give these records to the world for us, but we are not asking others to give these records to the world for us, but we demand that such records be broadcasted to the four winds by us and for us. A pride that goes with the knowledge of great deeds will serve to cause our prosperity to take heart and look into the vast future with a hope eternal. Such can never be done except they can be taught who they are and where they're from. Yes, we are demanding that these things be done, and we know that it will require some time before we can create the consciousness in others of our group to assert themselves likewise. But that day is coming when such will be the case. Okay. So, it's basically saying, like, we got to teach these babies ourselves. You know what I mean? It's on the daily. It's not just on the, on the fly. It's like, yo, we got to cross-reference, study, jump around a little bit, and get straight to the nitty-gritty. So since we was talking about the Moabites, we're going to talk about Queen Khalifa. You know what I'm saying? And what was really popping, because we've been here, it's in records, so we know about the public records and all that, but what was going on, like who was running what was being done. We know about the Jesuits and what they was trying to do when they came here.
He was the last stronghold of the Moors, for sure.
Exactly, she was fighting off the bullshit with Colombo and all them, you know what I mean? So wait, was it this part?
Yeah. That's crazy though. A woman that's ahead of the military, you feel me? Like she ahead of the army. Like
right.
not only that she's that, but she's like the head of it. Like that's crazy. Because back in them days, it was more honor. Like the kings and the so-called queens was they proven themselves in war. You ain't finna just get it. It's like a family of warriors, not a family of what it's like now today.
Well, her name too is the feminine version of Caliph, which is a governmental position. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, that's dope.
You know what I mean? Even her Khalifa. The man would be the Caliph, or you know what I mean? So that's a government right there, a government talk.
That's how Spanish is. When there's an A at the end of it, it becomes feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Uno, una.
Yeah, that's why the prophet say study Spanish. You know what I'm saying? And we know it's more Latin, but using the exact words of the prophet, study Spanish. And that was a reason we'll start seeing certain things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's divine. I study Spanish, so
Yeah, it's crazy. Even in Arabic, what's it called?
Here we go.
The words barrio, neighborhood in like the slum or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was used in Spain, and they were trying to expel the Moors. And it's an Arabic word. It's not Spanish.
Crazy.
That's crazy. You said barrio is an Arabic word.
That's why that's see stuff like that. It's a lot of languages. It's like Spanish is using a lot of ancient like sounds in they words. You know what I mean?
Ghetto.
Exactly.
Ancient sounds.
Well, I haven't read the whole book, but according to like the books I got, Dogs of God, and this other one about the Inquisition of Spain. Spain, where they originally went to war with the Moors, trying to expel them before they expelled them completely. What's it called? They were putting them in like certain neighborhoods, and they were called barrios.
And by that time, it was already women and children. The men that were already, murdered and
it's
stuff like
crazy
that.
because, I mean, we just said barrio, right? But think about it when that's ghetto. That's basically saying ghetto, right? So,
Exactly. And that's what it's a trip. It's like
so
I didn't know that. You just hear about it, like, and for it to not be even a Spanish word, it's just like it's a trip. Like they
it's
spoke
a,
Spanish.
it's an Italian, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For Italian, you know what I mean? Ghetto.
Like you could have actually different accents to speak Spanish in different dialects. That's why it's so unique.
That's why it's so bad.
I'm sorry. I remember when I lived in Texas, there was these, females. When I went to go talk to them, I thought they were just like, regular, you know, Americans. But now they started speaking to me in Spanish. Now they were Puerto Rican, Boricua.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. That's what I mean. It's like, damn, like they all speaking, like, you know what I mean? In a different way. Like, that's crazy, but yeah, that's it. But go ahead, brother. I don't want to get off.
You good more? Hey, this is what it's for, because we all together. This is part of it, you know what I'm saying?
Salute.
Salute 2 times. Islam, Empress, peace. So the Amazonian queens of Khalifa, you know what I'm saying? We already know she was an Amazonian goddess. Some say she was Hittite, you know what I'm saying? But we know we probably gonna say she Moabite, Canaanite, Phoenician. Why? Because they all one people. You know what
Why
I'm
we say that? Because Ruth
saying? Moabitis, you know.
Ruth is the who is that? Solomon, King David, and Noah down to Jesus.
Yeah.
That's their grandmother, great grandmother, and all that shit. So now when Noah there and the earth ended, Noah's there and he have 3 sons. What's their son name? Ham, Japheth, right? Get the other one name. But Ham, Cush is the son of Ham.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say Cushite, he was this and that. Well, if you're a Cushite, then you're a Hamite. And if you're a Hamite, then you're a goddamn Moabite, because they all came from her. Ruth.
Right.
Yes. And not to be it makes perfect sense to me when I put it like in terms of what's it called? Like a pedigree. Not to be, that's kind of weird to compare us to dogs, but what I'm saying is that would be more of a what's it called? A more visual way of looking at it.
Right.
So is it true they said Queen Khalifa used to have giant birds and eagles?
Yeah, the griffin. That's what's on the screen right now. These are griffins.
They used to ride on the back of those, and the ancient
that's true.
The Indians, the so-called Indians, they it's in their legends too, Islam, and in they cultural story.
Islam, brother Ben. But now that's the different. Okay, so now what do you think America is native for, right? The lions. That's all the empresses and the Moors, like we had the lions. That was our thing. And the Tartarian was the griffins, though. But also on the island where Khalifa was from, what she do? They would capture these griffins, you know what I'm saying, and take them into the cave and raise them up like as they were young, like because they'll go, catch them while they're young and train them, and that's how they were able to have them like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's true. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna just go into a little bit of this, and then I'll read like this paragraph and the other part of it, and then I'll just go ahead and yield from there, because we could just build on whatever if anybody got anything else. So the Amazonian queens of Khalifa. The legend of Queen Khalifa was first told in Las Sargas de Esplandian, The Exploits of Esplandian by Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo, published in Seville in 1510. It was the 5th book in a series that told the story of the conflict between Christians and Muslims, the Muslims, during the Crusades. The first 4 volumes were praised in their time, but this one was pretty much considered summer beach reading when it first appeared. It was not until some 25 years after these words were written and published by Garcia Ordonez de Montalvo, Spanish navigator Cortez and his fellow conquistadors happened upon the peninsula, which they thought an island which stretches down between the Gulf of California and the sea. What are they talking about right now? They're talking about the Gulf of California is Baja California. If you look on your map or phone and you look at California and you see that little split in between, hey, what the hell is that? Like, why is there a split there? That is essentially the split of where the Red Sea would be today. And what people would say, oh, well, what's that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Just for FYI.
Moses so-called parted that, right?
Yeah. That's basically what he did. But now, how did he part that? And why? And who was he fleeing from at that time for him to even part that? You know what I'm saying? He was fleeing from one of the major giants at that time that was still alive. And remember, these times we're functional with these giants. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying, my mind is jumping, but I'm trying to think of that giant's name. Because I had just seen it just the other day too.
In Islam, I just want to say, if we would also entertain the evidence of giants, it's not so far-fetched to believe that we had giant beasts and flying and giant birds that we rode on.
Islam, more for sure. That's like think about it more. They talk about dragons and giants in the Bible, right? That's everybody's reference. Oh, well, the Bible this, the Bible that.
You talking about what one?
What one? Oh, I was talking about the main giant that was chasing Moses about it, and why he parted the sea and ended up getting the people up out of there, because there was a giant that was still ruling at that time.
David versus Goliath.
Yeah, that was David versus Goliath, but the one versus Moses, and why he was getting up out of there and trying to save the people was because he was fleeing from a giant. And I'm trying to remember that reference, but my brain is like, okay, wait, who was that? And I'm gonna find it, because I actually I thought I saved the video. I was like, I found that very interesting because it made sense, because we know about the giants.
It does make sense, bro. If I may say, a lot of the clans, that never lost their history. They kept their oral history. They talk about a lot of the clans getting together and fighting the giants because they were cannibalizing.
And they was eating the humans, right?
Yeah, so, and then the what's it called? The codices of the Mayan Mexica codices. It says also that what's it called? That they were originally part of Allah's creation as well, and they, I guess, broke their covenant with the Most High, so they were destroyed, and the ones that remained, stayed here with us. That's why they started cannibalizing it. Like, they were already doing that, and the ones that survived kept doing it.
That's like the book of Enoch with the Watchers.
Yeah.
Supposedly they went against but I don't know. I question a lot of that stuff too, because they taught us how to utilize certain resources and how to work the planet, and it makes me wonder. I could get deep into that too with Yada and who the Most High is, but
I think it comes from that more in the Sumerian type thing, where they talk about the eugenics and somebody basically interfering, so to say, with the creators, with the original creator, like he was saying, adding their 2 cents into it, or putting doing something with the genetics in the midst of those who would not stay in their own domain. You hear those type of things in certain holy books. Islam.
it would just be like a perversion of what
Right.
the scriptures of the Most High.
Mm-hmm. You gotta be careful too, because they'll paint a lot of books that paint the Canaanites in a bad light, but that's all a throw off.
Islam at the same time, like the prophet said, and like it was some ancestors that was they wasn't listening to their higher self.
Islam.
Yeah.
No, that's true, bro. We gotta learn for their mistakes.
Yep, that's right. So all right, so it was boom. The conflict between the Christians and the Muslims during the Crusades. The first 4 volumes were praised in their time, but this one was pretty much considered summer beach reading when it first appeared. It was not until some 25 years after these words were written and published by Garcia Ordonez de Montana, Spanish navigator Cortez and his fellow conquistadors happened upon the peninsula, which they thought an island, which stretches down between the Gulf of California and the sea. At least one person among the Europeans to visit California in the early 16th century read the book. No one knows who first used the name for the region, but in 1516, it was appeared on maps and in accounts of travel there. California is unique in many ways, but especially in its name. We have states named for a virgin queen, a French monarch, Native American. So Virgin Mary, Virginia, Virgin, a French monarch, Native American nations as American presidents, and the wife of an English king, among others. Only California is named for an island realm that was ruled by a fiercely courageous lesbian Amazon woman. And Don Coextu, hi, anybody got that? Gone. Coexto Cervantes, Hero burned his copy. Even so, it was hugely popular and went through edition after edition. At the end of the novel, the various Christian knights assembled to defend the emperor of the Greeks and the city of Constantinople against the attacks of the Turks.
It says Don Quixote.
Don
that was
Quixote. There we go. That's what's up. Give thanks more. So, and the various Christian knights assembled to defend the emperor of the Greeks in the city of Constantinople against the attacks of the Turks and infidels in the following passages. Know that on the right hand of the Indies was an island called California, very near to the region of terrestrial paradise, which was populated by so-called black women without there being any men among them. That almost like the Amazons was their style of living. They were of vigorous bodies and strong, adherent hearts, and of great strength. The island itself, the strongest in steep rocks and cliff boulders that is found in the world. Their arms were of gold, and also the harnesses of the wild beasts, of which, after having tamed them, here they go right here, having tamed them, they rode. That in all the island, there was no other metal whatsoever on this island called California. There were many griffins, and we were just talking about the griffins, the birds that they was flying on. And at the time they had young, these women would take them into their caves and raise them, and then they fattened them on those men. So they was feeding them the men whenever people come to the island. So when you think about Wonder Woman, you know what I'm saying? Who is Wonder Woman? Wonder Woman is Queen Khalifa. It's based on her, which what will happen in the movie when you first see it. She on an island with a bunch of Amazonians, and dude fly in, and they like, yo, what's up? We ready to kill this dude. How he get here? And who following him? The Nazis, right? So they getting ready for war. Boom, they get in the war, save dude, and you know how that go. But basically,
I just also want to say they compare her to Lilith, also like from the Biblios.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she because Lilith separated herself and Adam and Eve to where she didn't want to take Adam's rule, so to say. But really, that's just
Lay down. Yeah.
the challenge of coming into the reality. Male and female, they must learn to love each other. Islam, and that is why you would see many holy books call that wickedness at one point to be standoffish. Islam, and some would say, oh, that's why they was wiped out. But Islam, I digress.
Islam. No, I remember that, and that's why they always say that. That's why they say women have labor pain. It's because of her actions. You know, that's how they line that up. And then something happened with a baby, right? And she tried to have a child after that, and she never was able to have a child again. Lilith.
And you know, their excuse would have been, oh, men are too cruel and this and that at that time. But then you would see, oh, they would kill all the baby boys coming out based on this, that type of insanity. But to be fair, from what my study, Queen Khalifa was a title, and there may have been more merciful queens before her. Islam.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
Definitely, because remember, we was ruled by matriarch. You know what I'm saying? All this patriarch shit come after conquest. You know what I'm saying?
She was the last.
And she was one of the last. But remember, the first start with Ruth the Moabite. You know what I mean? Yeshua's grandmother. And then it's like, and there was many in between that. Notice they don't tell the story.
And just to say, Ruth is always, when you study Ruth was always connected with the highest mother or purple chakra. She was known for being a mother's mother, and she loved all the babies. Well, she wasn't on no Queen Khalifa. Islam, just to say.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
She represent love in the Bible, for sure.
Okay, so on this island called California, where many griffins, and in the time that they had young, these women would take them into their caves and there raise them. And they fattened them on those men and the boys they had born. Now, mind you, this is an island where it wasn't man. So this is like, so think there's this thing where it's like if like I think it was you, Blaze, probably mentioned to it earlier, like something about not having sex until you're like 33. And what that does to an individual, and how that a woman can manifest a child without sex, you know what I'm saying? And that stuff happens, and that's basically where it's like, well, dang, how did these men get on the island if it's already women? You know what I'm saying? Like it seemed like they was already using a mind and birthing more of themselves. But when they would have men, hey, you know what? We're gonna get you out of here. And that kind of remind me of Kronos. What was he doing? He was devouring his children every time they were born. Why? Because he knew that they would cause chaos. So what happened? Zeus, or his Zeus's wife, or Kronos' wife, kept Zeus alive. And what happened? He ended up killing his father. You know what I'm saying? And taking his spot, and basically becoming the one, which is wild, crazy. But you know what I mean?
Islam. I would also like to add, wouldn't that be considered being asexual? And like, in terms of science, like we all start off as females in the womb with the XX chromosome, and the male, what's it called? Species is just a mutation of woman.
Yep.
Well, Islam, I just want to interject on that and Camelback a bit. When you talk about ancient Atlantis and the hermaphroditic ancient conehead Moors of that million years ago, right before the earthquake, they were a mix of male and female energy beings. They was not just women. Like people will say that because they were asexual, you would get that confused based on the age we living in today and the fall. But back then that's why they were able to have those children asexually, because all of the parts were in one body. Islam, there was no need for sex. The fall is not appreciating certain things. Islam, so male and female, it's like the more you push away from a woman, the more a woman push away from a man, you pushing further away from yourself. And ones don't even understand. Allah school, Islam, the earth is a school. We get confused and think it's many other things. Islam, I digress.
Islam, that's sunflowers are
I agree.
hermaphrodites.
I agree. The only thing my only point was that what's it called? In nature, there's been it's been proven by science that there's certain creatures out there that they reproduce asexually, and obviously they're all female.
A lot of flowers are like that.
That's the thing though. Like what like the thing about it is it's based on nature and their survival of the species. It's based on that. You know what I mean? It's like if a species is supposed to get going extinct, like if all the men right now leave this planet, the women here would eventually end up having all the tools to have a baby on their own.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Like by nature.
At the end of the day, if they chose for us to be here in the first place.
Yeah.
I just want us also to pay attention to how we wear the fezzes. Islam, the turban representing the mother energy. Islam, the fez representing more the masculine energy. Wearing both, you are a full man. So you see the aspect of how anciently the cone heads would be both energies combined. That's why they were able to reproduce,
right,
without having sex. Islam, because it was closer to being God. But the more you closer to being God, right, the less amazing things might seem. Islam, I just without me getting too deep, Islam, just looking at the pictorial, you understanding of how we wear our fezes, the fez represent, and giving honor to both the mother and father, the creed. Islam.
Straight up,
Islam.
Yeah, that's the thought manifested in Allah. So she had to think, all right, well, had that thought of like, all right, we got both of these in me. So she essentially, all right, well, you know what?
I just think that certain things we say belittle either man or woman, and I know that in the love of Allah, He's not going to belittle either one. Islam, and if you look at our science, it is what it is. Islam.
Equal.
Yeah. All right, so take them to their caves and then raise them and then fatten them on the men and the boys they had born. Any make that entered the island was killed and eaten by them. There ruled on that island of California a queen great of body, very beautiful for her race, at a flourishing age, desirous in her thoughts of achieving great things, valiant in strength, cunning in her brave heart, more than any other who had ruled that kingdom before her. So right there, who ruled the kingdom before her, some more queens. So she wasn't just the only one. Like we were saying, there was more empresses over there. I'll say, so note of reference above to the steps, rocks, and cliffboards was the reason the Jesuits invading white men could not conquer the Isles of California from the Pacific shoreline. No white man had yet set eyes on her hills and streams, for all the civilized world knew the Golden West was a sea of mysterious terrors. Yet California was already the goal to which the poets and adventurers looked. It was in 1510, some 3 decades before this state was even discovered, the islands to be filled with natives by the white man. In the romance novel that allegedly the name California drew from, Esplandia, with an embedded Indian in the name, writes, California stood before him, the rich and beautiful being that she is. The sunset jewels were in her hair, apples of Hesperides in her arms, and her feet sunk deep in golden sandals. The vision uplifted the poet. He sat down and wrote his fervid masterpiece. He spoke of an island with purple hills and silver moons, with luscious fruits and flowers. He told of the caverns and the earth paved with gold, the very storehouse of treasures that John Marshall stumbled across 340 years later. In those days, the book revealed that no man lived on the islands of Khalifa. It was home of a nation of black Amazons who, like their queen, were of powerful bodies and strong and adherent hearts and great strength. Brave warriors, all. They had a woman-only policy that was strictly enforced. Their weapons were golden, and so were their harnesses of the wild beasts that they were accustomed to domesticate and ride. Men who ventured into their realm were destroyed by griffins trained to kill any man that they encountered. The book also referenced that there were many queens who ruled previously on the Isles of Khalifa. The greatest among the lines of queens who ruled over the mythical realm, the naming of California that was rarely been talked about, yet is now becoming one of the most important discussions we can have about the legend of Queen Khalifa in the Isles of California. Maps also show clearly marked the Red Sea, which further indicates the west to east progression of the revisited historical narrative that one America was first and original landmass in all world up until a great flood in the early 1800s, which preceded the Euro-white Americanos invasion. They could only invade once the waters receded and the beds became dry enough for wagon trains to go straight from East Salt Lake unto Utah across the Great Salt Lake when it now became passable in the mid-1800s due to it being an ocean still, along with Saltine Sea to the west from the Great Continental Divide and Mississippi River, where there were more earth changes occurring with a 2-year-long shaking earth with over 6,000 earthquakes, where the Mississippi River flowed backwards on February 7th, 1812. Additionally, we had the winter without a summer. In 1816, the Great Comet of 1811, and of course, the War of 1812 and the Battle of Waterloo. I cover this in more detail in chapter 3. It is not also a coincidence that Queen Khalifa is still on the state of California still to this day, and thus the legend may be true, hidden again in plain sight. Some will say that it's Some would say that that's Minerva, the Roman goddess of wisdom, also found on the Starbucks logo, but her story was changed when the Christian white man wrote his story, was changed to hide the identity of Queen Khalifa. Also, why Eureka on the header of Eureka, there you go. Eureka. You're like, oh, Eureka. That's crazy. Eureka on the header of the CA seal. Go ahead, Brother Rashad. What you say more? Okay. On the header of the CA seal, and became the last Queen Khalifa and her people. It was not until 1683 the Jesuits landed on the planet and implanted themselves in California, but only along the CA coast. Even then, their establishments was not permanent. For more than a century and a half after Cortez' discovery, CA Island was not conquered for its vast wealth of natural riches of gold, copper, and red mercury, diamonds, and thousands of years of old redwood forest. This is from a document from the Ancient Congress of
Islam.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Just to interject, I don't know if y'all remember, they used to have this children's show called Eureka's Castle.
Yeah,
right.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, Nickelodeon, and
I love that show.
All of that stuff what they was basically, because all of that stuff is basically lampooning and pulling off how they took down the empire, whether they talking about it all over the world, the different, because we was a global empire, Islam, but yeah, I just wanted to and say also to say that her castle was Alcatraz. Islam, what is now Alcatraz, they turn her castle into a prison. Islam, where they make make money off of brothers like gold bonds. Islam, Spain do, but Islam, I just wanted to throw that out.
Islam, more give thanks. You know what I'm saying? It was not until 1683 that the Jesuits landed and planted themselves in California. And this is crazy because, these Jesuits, they first landed in California, Khalifa, right? So the first settlers, to get over here, and during this conquest of Cortez discovery, right? A lot of these people is in the area that I'm in today and shit, and doing deliveries and shit while I'm on the job. And it's crazy because I could see off in these hills close to the water, and it's like, wow, bro, like I could really see how we were set up in certain positions, and how they'll let, just how they let our ruins get, they'll let the grass and everything grow over it, so you don't really know it. It just looked like a big ass hill and shit like that. But I could see these things now that you start tapping into self, and you being in tune with nature, and you start to feel more of that divine stuff, because you start seeing it. You start seeing it and feeling it. You're like, wait a minute, this looked like this was something way more than this. You know what I mean?
Islam, if I might add, out here in Phoenix, and I'm pretty sure it's similar out there in Cali. You go to the museums they got set up out here. There's a lot of them are actually ancient ruins, and they show. I mean, like for instance, there's one right here off of
Washington and Mill Ave. That one.
Right there. They have a ball court there, bro.
Yeah, I used to play ball there.
No, what I'm saying is a ball court like the Aztec Maya.
Yeah,
ball.
That's fire.
Oh, and also quickly before I forget, the Disney castle, that's the same exact architecture as Queen Khalifa's castle was in Alcatraz. Islam, they took that.
Sheesh, that's crazy. Because then you look at these fucking pedos, Jeffrey Epstein, and what he do. He go and copy something like that and put it on his shit. You know what I'm saying? And
talking about Alcatraz, the prison.
That was the location of Queen Khalif's castle, the last castle what he was talking about right here. The same exact Islam story.
That's crazy. It's crazy. In San Diego, they got a museum that been there, man, for like been there 50 years. It's called the Moorish Latin African Museum. And the Moorish Latin African Museum. I was like, wait a minute. So, I seen it just on GP. I went down there to take some pictures while my girl was pregnant out there on San Diego Bay, man. And I drove and my eyes open, you know what I mean? I said, like, what is that? And I stopped, went up in there and everything, man. It was beautiful. Yeah. Oh boy, was a Buffalo Soldier and all that, you know what I mean? But he knew what's up with the more science. He had a big ass a picture or something, man, of the Sultan. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, like that's the first thing he asked me, because I'm walked in with my fez. He's like, who is that? You know what I mean? I had to tell him.
Crazy. I'm looking it up right. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. San Diego.
I'm looking it up right now because that's where I live. It says Casa del Rey
Casa
Moro
del,
Africano.
yeah. There you go. Casa del, yep, exactly.
Latin Museum. Yeah.
Yep.
I gotta check that out.
Yep.
Take some pictures.
It's free too, man. It's free. So you know what I mean? I took a picture with him and gave him 20
I might have to jump on the train and go out there and check that out. That's up the way, or just shoot up that 5, because that's a trip well needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy when you look at all these things. Right here too in Fallbrook where I'm at, I took these little back streets to work, and it's called the South Morro Hills. I live right here. It's called De Luz, but not like Al-Andalus, but it's like of light, De Luz. It just kind of reminds me of that too, in a way.
Man, this is Morocco all the way, man. Like, come on now.
For sure.
Come on now. You know what I mean? Like,
can't deny it, man. We everywhere in this thing.
Most of the name of the streets is in Latin. You be like, man, what the fuck? What street? I'm on El Segundo. Like, what? Okay. You know what that is, boy. Like that, everything is
wait,
what
I'm
it
Los
was
Moros?
beautiful.
What's that? Los
Everything
Moros?
was El Bay Day. I see that shit in everything now. It was like even the weekdays, man. The weekdays, Friday, Saturday, everything was just like, damn, this everything is more, bro. Like everything that, and I realized like, but at the same time, the divine part is no life is over the next. Like, and if it's naturally divine set up that way, that's what it is. But respect for all life, you know what I mean? It matters. Like, ain't no life over the next life. You know what I mean? Like as a human, love, it's all about love and balance,
Islam. Prophet got
equality.
a chapter on that. Islam, most definitely.
Islam.
Hey man, I appreciate y'all, man, for letting me in the space because this was really what I needed. This was like the missing piece of the puzzle that I've always been asking for my whole life. Like, where do I come from? Who are my ancestors? All that, and I'm finally getting to learn all this stuff that my parents, unfortunately, my parents couldn't teach me.
Right.
Because my dad's a little stuck in the worldly ways, and my mom's hardcore Catholic. She won't see it no other way. But you guys are answering all the questions that I had, like that whole lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes. I got taught that by the Moors. And then when I put on my people to that, they're like, "Oh, damn, I never knew that." Mexicans. It's interesting stuff, man. So I just wanted to give thanks to everybody here and Mafiel for sure.
Wow.
Thank you.
Islam, I wanted to just drop a little bit on what I study about being a Muslim. A Muslim, our nature is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Prophet said these are Muslims, Islam. So, regardless of what a lot of us know, it's people out here behind closed doors eating babies. Islam ain't no Muslim gonna do that. If you know what I mean. Islam.
Facts, more. Say that. That's for real. You know what I mean? Because muscles, organs, skin, lungs,
skeleton, muscle, organ, skeleton, ligaments,
organs, and then
magnetism. Yep.
Magnetism. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the whole thing of the organs. Matter of fact, if somebody else would like to read, I would like y'all to read this part. Well, let me finish this part right here because that was just this paragraph and that right there. So,
real quick, Morocco Apartments is 10 minutes away from here. I just wanted to add that.
Right, you know what I'm saying? They got that shit right up the way from
Hey,
us.
bro, look, man, I looked it up. You seen that shit on my page? I was like, I said, Moroccan Los Angeles. I said Morris Los Angeles. I just threw them all in like a pile and put search. And they didn't know it say Morris, you know what I mean, Los Angeles. And then it just showed me like everything that's based on Morris. And you can do that for every city from goddamn like the cemetery is Morris, man.
Hey, that's what right there on what's that?
My grandparents buried at Islam. They call it the mausoleum.
There you go. That's mausoleum. Yeah, right there on what's that, Gabby or Gab or one of them streets, yo. But it's literally right there, big old Moorish architecture. I was like, whoa, that's fire. Right in our face, you know what I'm saying? All of it. All right.
And then out here, Riverside, the building,
the Mission Inn, the Moorish Castle,
the oldest building out this way, man, and it seats 1776 people, man. Like that's a symbol right there. Like it seats 1776 people, 1776, and then you like, damn, if you know, you like, what happened then? And then you'll see, But it's Moorish styles, the way it was designed. Like, man, you can say Moorish Japanese, Moorish this, Moorish that. This mismatch the words, and then you just be like, damn, the whole world is Morocco. The whole world. You know what I mean? So it's crazy, bro. It's beautiful though.
Oh man. All right, so the Queen of California reigned some 555 years ago. Her precise contemporaries were Amadis of Gaul, the Emperor Esplandian, and the Sultan Radero, and she flourished. As the book says, at the time when this sultan made his unsuccessful attack on the city of Constantinople, all of which she saw part of which she was no petty, she was not petite, nor blonde, nor golden haired. She was large and so-called black as the ace of clubs, but the prejudice of color did not then exist even among the most bars and faces or the most copper-headed. For as you shall learn, she was reputed the most beautiful of women, and it was the Californians, the Orange OC, right? The Californians who wailed the gallant prince Talanque, who wedded the gallant prince Talenku, your first known king. The supporters of the arms of the beauty shield of the state of California should be on the right, a knight armed Capapi, and on the left, an Amazon sable, cloth and skin. So it's talking about this right here. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's referring to Talenque. That's
There we go. Talenque. There, that's I didn't say that right, but you got it for me. Talenque. That's what they was talking about. Talenque.
I think he's an emperor.
Samara.
Referring to a Incan emperor, if I'm not mistaken.
You said like an Inca emperor?
Yeah.
That's dope. I might have to look into my Yucatan book to see what some of those names is. Yeah. So that it says, yeah, the first known king. So yeah, that's possibly. Now you are here to the most extraordinary thing that ever was heard Now you are to hear the most extraordinary thing that ever was heard of in any chronicles or in the memory of man, by which the city would have been lost on the next day, but that where the danger come. But that where the danger came, there the safety came also. Know then that on the right hand of the Indies, there is an island called California, very close to the side of the terrestrial paradise, and it was peopled by so-called black women without any man among them, for they lived in the fashion of Amazons. They were of a strong and hardly bodies, of ardent courage and great force. Their island was the strongest in all the world, with the steep cliffs and rocky shores. Their arms were all of gold, and so was the harness of the wild beasts which they tamed and rode. For in whole island there was no metal but gold. They lived in caves wrought out of the rocks with much labor. They had many ships with which they sailed out to other countries to obtain booty. We know what booty is. Booty is treasure. Booty is money. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy because what a man be out here chasing booty, and that's, you know what I mean, crazy. But that's not what it is. It's gold, it's money. In this island called California, there were many griffins on the account of the great raggedness of the country, and this infinite host of wild beasts, such as never were seen in any other part of the world. And when these griffins were yet small, the women went out with traps to take them. They covered themselves over with very thick hides, and when they had caught the little griffins, they took them to their caves, brought them up there, and began themselves quite a match for the griffins. They fed them with the men whom they took prisoners, and with the boys whom they gave birth, and brought them up with such arts that they got much good from them, and no harm. Every man who landed on the island was immediately devoured by these griffins, and although they had enough, nonetheless would they seize them and carry them high up in the air in their flight, and when they were tired of carrying them, would let them fall anywhere as soon as they died. You know what I'm saying? So now I just wanted to go into we was just tapping into that. I wanted to get to this part because we was talking about I'll come to that one later, but where's the brother Toledo just mentioned? Where'd it go? Oh, wasn't it? one? Dang, I closed it out. It was in the other one. Islam in America. See, this is what I was talking about. Moors animals was the lions, Tartarians was the griffin. But you know what I'm saying? This is when we all won. We were still on both sides of this thing. So that's why we know Queen Khalifa had a griffin and we also had lions. You know what I'm saying? It's us right here. You know what I mean?
Just to camel back on that from the Wizard of Oz, you know, they got the Scarecrow, the straw man,
and the cowardly
lion. Because that's what they need you to be.
The 10-man cowardly lion. For real.
The 10-man, the that's really like
the EIN.
To that RoboCop aspect. They don't have no heart, Islam, but yeah, it's this time we coming out of Islam, coming out of this time, Islam, devil time over.
Islam in Mexico, there's a place called Guanajuato. It's in León. León is in Spanish for lion.
León. That's crazy, man. It's all gonna tie in. You know what I mean? It's all gonna tie in because you know it you can't hide it no more. We out here. You know what I'm saying? And we returning. It's the return of the ancient ones.
Guanajuato's famous for their mummies too. Las momias de Guanajuato. I've been out there before.
Yes, that's true. Facts. They got mummies out there.
Which is crazy because what's the oldest mummies? Some of the statues, the standing mummies, over 7,000 years old. You know what I'm saying? Standing statue mummies. Like, it was wild, crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to add on because you said the booty thing. I wanted to quantify that. So that's a law term, booty and prize.
Yeah.
The spoil taken. So when a colonist colonize, the people or the women become booty and prize for the colonizer. You know, just to quantify that. It's not just money. It's considered something valuable from a colonist.
And also to understand that, you know, they looked at women as the spoils of war at one time. So booty would get synonymous in that aspect. Right. In the Age of Adventure, the pirates, Islam, you know, some of them one-eyed Moors, them was dirty Moors, Islam.
It's like the Trojan
I was about
War.
to say the same thing. Like those type of things like that. That's why we got to where we at today too. You know what I'm saying? That was like part of the energy we was on. Like you couldn't.
Islam. That's why I don't like to ignore none of that and play the victim. Islam. We, like the prophet said, we pay for what we pay for. The devil time is over. Islam. But that happened.
Yep,
we did do some bad things.
For sure. Yep. That's why it was like prophet said, you know, he had to bring our flag back out and then let us know about the principles. You know what I mean? That's the highest principles known to man. Like, because everybody be on all these other, you know, principles. You know, how many other this and that and these. Nah. It's very simple. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's Venus. You feel me? That's arm, leg, arm, head. Mm-hmm. So that's how serious that shit is, though. You feel me? Like, if you can't get that right.
Islam.
Don't even think about it.
Don't know. Yeah, I mean,
Islam more science is a study itself. Some people can't handle it. You know?
Man, it all begins with self and how you go back into self. You know what I'm saying? It by silencing the mind and listening to self, finding that self within, because that's the true self. You know. But
we gotta take. I feel like we gotta take responsibility because, like, you know, in law, ignorance doesn't excuse you. So regardless, we were ignorant before. Now we, you know, coming into the light, to the knowledge. Still gotta hold ourselves responsible for furthering ourselves.
The more we study, the more we see. When people talk about European slavery, even though we know it didn't happen the way they try to paint the picture, Islam, you can still see, okay, Moors own Europeans in mass. So that's karmatic Islam. And you look at with Queen Khalifa and how women is treated like meat now. I don't know if the Moor was gonna get into it.
Yep.
But they was treating men like meat back then. Islam. So
That's basically what I was
if
saying.
that ain't proof that karma's real, I don't know what is. No matter how long it take, Allah got this set up pretty genius like Islam. So ain't no way through Allah, through the principles, ain't no other way. Islam.
So enough, Islam, more you got it. That's how it was because they went after the matriarch. You know what I'm saying? Why you think we were so peaceful and so welcoming? You know what I'm saying? When they came over here, you know what I mean? And we didn't just go ahead and just scimitar their ass to death. You know what I mean? And they seen that shit. That was in Christopher Columbo's writings. You know what I'm saying? His diaries. He's talking about, yeah, these people look like the perfect people to enslave. You know what I'm saying? And because they were so welcoming and all that shit. So it's easy for them to go after the mothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the prophet came back to change the wicked ways of men.
I was watching a documentary on the Moors in Spain and Al-Andalus and stuff, and I forget exactly which emperor it was, but they were saying that the reason why that city fell off and was able to get conquered is because that sultan was spending a lot more energy towards culture and arts than trying to build up an army. So he was more he had a nice big castle. Everything was beautiful. Everyone was smart. They weren't even focused on war. They were just focused on getting smarter and putting everybody up on this knowledge and information.
Which is why it was kept for so long in secret. Why you think they ain't telling us what's over in the Grand Canyon right now?
Sound like the Pequot Wars to me, and how the Yamasee got grouped up because most of their tribes didn't have the trading routes dealing with superior firearms and things of that nature. But then let's be real, let's take it all the way. We can take it to the non-concordant entities that rule over these so-called pale-skinned Europeans. How this technology just come into this time at a certain time and just they set the clock back. Like, come on, man. But it just to so say it gets deeper.
Straight up.
That's the crazy thing with AI, man. I feel like it just keeps, the Albion was like the AI of that time, I feel.
Exactly. That the Yakub experiments, Jacob from the Bible wrestled with the angel. Islam, Egypt had the angel.
The new name. Yep.
But then it's like the Job story, Islam, of Lucifer tell God, hey, let me mess with them and see if they turn on you. To a degree, it's still in that same aspect, Islam, and a lot of people turned Islam.
Yep, they fell.
The story go back to what I be getting from the whole picture, reading just different things that went on in Spain and such. So, I mean, it's just like, like we said, booty and prize, like, we mixed in, and then babies, what I'm saying, those dark skinned men choose to protect their mother, which was a European. Like that's the simplest way I'm gonna be able to tell you what happened. You know what I mean? It's like, what else happened? You know what I mean? It was a lot of just, lower self activity. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, if you, a dark skinned man, if his mother is who she is, that's who he is, right? And that's who he gonna protect. And he gonna take on the religion. He gonna take on everything of his mama. Especially if that's why it's important for the parents to be, on the same road with their minds, same mindset.
And then just, when you read some of the holy scriptures, you would get the indication that the European is really your brother. He's just in genetic slavery.
Right. Facts.
But when I talk to Moors like I said, he'd say something deep like, well, they destroyed their own reality. And,
right.
That was a punishment. So it's just all karma, full circle again, even with them. Not being able to tap certain melanated frequencies or higher vibrational tones that certain concentrations of melanin reach. Islam, and if you got a certain concentration, you're Moors.
Yeah, they do shit that we wouldn't want to do. Like, it's like a balance. Like, you ain't gonna see no more at the bottom of the ocean taking nothing off a whale tail, right? You know what I mean? You in the ocean, you looking for a whale to help. You feel me? Like, So like everything is is all balanced, man. Everybody got to know law, and really, which is yourself. You got to know yourself, the divine law, like the shit that you can't break, the shit that if you try to break, you're gonna suffer. You feel me? When you get that right, now we can move on to the man-made law. That man-made shit, we can get to that later, but it's some divine lessons we need to learn.
Islam.
You know?
Islam, man. It starts with the divine, man. It all starts with the self, man. And that's the blissful. Man must know thyself. You know what I mean? And that self is all of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything in the aspect of okay, the great question, who am I? You know what I'm saying? And you are your foremothers and forefathers without a doubt or contradiction. So who are they? You know what I'm saying? Well, we Moors, and we descendants of Moroccans. You know what I'm saying? Born in America. So study yourself, study the culture, study the language, study what was here before you. Here with the Mexican Moor history. You know what I'm saying? This Mexico right here. You know what I mean? So it's like we everywhere. And then even when you look at New Mexico, you know what I'm saying? Albuquerque and all that, all those castles and all that stuff was built for us. Here go that basketball court you was talking about too, Kukulkan. And like same. Like we was doing this. When we still here and doing this, you know what I mean? It's just today, you know what I mean? We got to get people collectively on to the same thing of knowing that, hey, yo, we one people. You know what I'm saying?
They playing basketball or handball?
No, they playing basketball. This is basketball. You see the basketball hoop right here?
That look crazy.
It's called a pak de pak, but I mean, yeah, it's pretty much it's like a combination of basketball and soccer.
Yeah,
I would say basketball was inspired by that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say next. Yeah, if basketball comes from this, because what they was doing, how they play this is you use your hips. You can't touch the ball with your hands and shit, but you use your hips and your body to shoot the ball with. You know what I mean? And you have to get it through the hoop. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically where.
What year was this? What year around? That's crazy.
They still play that game in Mexico.
Yeah.
Some people.
Yeah, I was gonna also add that in the Grand Canyon, you know, they've also found another ball court, and in the Grand Canyon, like if you ever get a chance to go, all of the corners, every like because they have like places where you can see the sightseeing areas. Every corner is named after an Egyptian god.
No, do the Ptah measure. You gotta do the Ptah measure.
You seen that?
Go into that because I got something lined up later on in the game. Yeah, go ahead and read that, man.
Okay, so the kingdom, the importance of Ptah in Egypt, or just this part right here? Which one you want?
Who's Ptah, and then go down to that.
All right, so who is Ptah in Egyptian mythology? Okay, so in the complex religion of ancient Egypt, Ptah was considered one of the mightiest deities of the Egyptian pantheon, known as a creator, God who brought all things into being. Ptah was held in special regard by the people of Egypt and was also known as the patron god of craftsmen and what is that? Architects or art?
Yeah, architects.
Architects. Ptah was originally worshipped as the local deity of Memphis. Where's Memphis? Right here, you know what I'm saying? What some of us say is Lower Egypt. But as the city of Memphis rose in power and became the capital of Egypt during the first dynasty, the worship of Ptah surged to prominence, and Ptah came to be celebrated throughout all of Egypt. As Memphis' role expanded throughout Egypt, as did reverence for Ptah's power. Ptah's companion was the warrior goddess Shemet. Shemet. Ptah, that's right. Shikmet. Sikmet. Sikamet. 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 Ptah and Sika met together, created a son, Nefertum, god of youth, and the lotus blossom. Together, the three deities were called the Memphite triad, and their cult was one of the largest of Egyptian dynastic history. The importance of Ptah in ancient Egypt. The Egyptians, who were a part of Memphite triad cult, believed that Ptah was the most important of all of Egypt's gods. Ptah was revered by his followers as the most ancient god, and therefore the creator of all things, including other deities, the sun, the earth, and was responsible for new growth and vegetation. Yeah, so this part right here.
Ptah's responsible for the sun, the earth. That's heavy, man. Ptah.
Yeah, Utah, the father, Utah, Judah, right? So this right here, Yehudu, Judah, Utah, right? Mount Nebo, right? This Mount Nebo. But let me go back to the skip. All right. So the kingdom of Judah was in Utah. Best-selling book, When Rocks Cry Out, Horace Butler has already demonstrated that Peru was Jerusalem, because no J, so Jerusalem, and that the kingdom of Judah is in Utah. So this chapter should be no surprise. How did Mr. Butler prove that the kingdom of Judah was in Utah? Well, he used the King James Version Bible, Deuteronomy 3:1-3, which reads as follows. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo, to the top of the Pisgah that is over against Jericho. And the Lord sued him all the land of Gilead, unto Dan, and all Naphtali, in the land of Ephraim, and Manasseh, and all. Yeah, y'all might.
No, that's all I wanted you to. You have to go.
Okay, because I'm like, hold on, bro. All these Bible names, I don't really know how to say. I ain't went to the Bible. Manasseh. Is that how you say it? Manasseh. There you go, Empress. You got it. I wanted to show the Grand Canyon because he was talking about the Grand Canyon, and I wanted to show like this is the stuff that they was finding in there, and they don't tell us about, remember the first Buddha is a Moor. You know what I mean? And why they don't tell us about the first Buddha? Because that Buddha was over here. And if you look at this and the Kincaid findings, this is what's in this Grand Canyon. On these walls is Moors. These is Egyptians. These ain't no hybrid Europeans. And they also found a room, right, when they was doing these findings. It's crazy because when they was in here, they found a room where they had, it was like, think about like when you walk into like a room and they got like what is it called? Like, it was like light bulbs, right? But it was basically balls with everybody's face painted on them. Like everybody, like people that you see today in their day-to-day activity, they would probably be in there. Why? Because they was just basically, to me, I felt like it was like them putting themselves like in this thing to where they can just come back and reincarnate. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, they basically, it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? This is all here in Illinois, Northern Illinois. You know what I'm saying? Memphis, all these things, these artifacts was found during these times in the Grand Canyon around the same time. So it's like, wait a minute, if we already got all this stuff and papers and all this, like, you know what I'm saying? Why ain't we where we need to be? You know what I'm saying? Because the lack of knowledge and where our mental state has been, you know what I'm saying? So, we just got to get back to our ways of thinking of our foremothers and our forefathers, you know what I'm saying? And that's being in our divine self, being with law, being with being with the essence, you know what I'm saying? We strayed away from mother, you know what I'm saying? And started trying to act like men when we were still children and didn't learn from nature. You know what I mean? You get common sense from nature, you know what I mean? So, you know, the village takes the village to raise a child. So if we strayed away from the village and we didn't listen to mama, now we listening to all these false things in the street, these gangs and whatever motherfuckers. We getting misled, misguided, and we're not, you know what I'm saying? We're not finding ourselves in nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And like the more Ben was saying, like these are all the places with the giants, you know what I'm saying, where they have giants located at. You know what I'm saying? This is where they found giant skeletons. If you look it up, it's going to tell you it's not hidden anymore. It's out there. Like all these places. It's California, it's all over Jersey, all this. These are all giant findings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the pyramid right there.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
like Crescentus, I'm sorry.
But
no, I was saying we found out about a pyramid right here in St. Bernard Parish called Crescentus. Right there at the mouth of the Mississippi.
Sheesh, and you already know we was up and down the Mississippi. You know what I mean? That's our now. You know what I mean?
It's
But look where it's heavily concentrated at, where the prophet was at.
Right.
Heavily concentrated up in that area.
Wow, look at that.
All of that. But then notice how they buried or a lot of all this on top of that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? This is due to the fact that all the hiding of what they've been trying to hide. You know what I mean? What else is over here? What is this? The code word Virgin Mary.
That like the mudslide?
We just recently had a collapse over there in New York.
Right. You know what I mean? And then think about all the seep holes that's opening up around the world and shit, all them sinkholes. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think that's due to? You know what
I'm Is that what they talk about when they say the mud flood of Tartaria?
This is what they're talking about right here. But that was now mind you, some of them is caused by the great earthquakes, but then also them when we're thinking about these people today, the stuff that they're using on us today, they had already back in them times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
Exactly. It wasn't long ago. They added 1,000 years to our timeline. But I'll also remind you is that the stuff that they're using today was the same things that they're using then. So they caused some of these floods, which is how they were able to, you know, break the dam, you know what I'm saying? Flood these motherfuckers, flood them out, get them out of here. Or cause these so-called chemtrails, because they were spraying shit back in these times. Even in these times when we had blimps and all that, because we're using the source of energy from the earth and the actual atmosphere and the air, you know, to actually use these blimps to fly around and do stuff. But they were spraying the skies the same way that they spraying the skies today with chemtrails. You know what I'm saying? And that's also part of like how they, you know, we're gonna have a cause of mass destruction, because what's in that, what they was using with that was part of the what Tesla was saying, like, you know, you're using frequency, vibration, and sound. So now all that shit together is now how they can cause these disasters. What is it called? The heart machine. Yeah, when they're using that heart machine. Yeah,
towers too.
Yeah, all that radiation that they're pumping out, because they want to continue to put that energy on us to where it's like, yo, you know what I mean?
And I'd be by them towers sometimes when I'm doing my route, like in the middle of nowhere, and I don't get better phone signal.
See? And like, I know we've seen some of these pictures on the Sears page, you know what I'm saying? Look at these giants. These, you know, these is real giants. These is real time giants. Look at this. They'll tell you this shit is fabricated, but look at this. This ain't no fabrication. This is a real man right here.
Like y'all mean.
And you know, just the Camelback, because people don't talk about the ancient wars where people was, you know, they was taking different DNA from different tribes to create their own albino soldiers to go fight their own brothers, Islam. So a lot of the giants, they was taking their DNA to create soldiers that was large Islam, which I think coalesce with Genesis, where the Islam, where you talk about the giants, Islam, and
right here, more. There you go, Genesis, right there for you.
like the children could be genetic children, from experiments. Don't necessarily have to be from the womb, Islam, because that's how deep the Bible is.
Because there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children unto them, the same became mighty, and which were of God old men of renown. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't know if you have the there's several books they got about American giants in America, where they show the skulls is shaped like the pyramid, like the
yeah, you talking this book right here, the ancient giants who ruled America.
Yeah, but on there, like I've seen ones where they actually showed that the skeletal structures was different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, man. This is, you know.
You're all in the NBA right now.
That's what I was gonna say next. More, what happened to the Giants? Where they at? They in the NBA and the NFLs. Why? Because they know if these people, look at this, if they are among us, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna be wondering, well, wait a minute. We heard about giants in the Bible, but how serious did we take the Bible? What all were we taught? And then look at this in Sumerian. You know what I'm saying? You see this human compared to this giant. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you see Gilgamesh holding the lion and shit like that, it's like, well, wait a minute. This nigga holding a whole big ass lion.
Islam, Egyptian pyramids be showing like 20 feet, 30 feet tall giants compared to Islam.
Bruh, you know it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's on here too.
Yep, they're versions.
You know what I mean? Look at the giant books, you know. Like, why would we have these giant?
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for, Islam. I'm like, man, the evidence showed these people was fairy tale big for real though. Like,
yeah, look, like, bruh, ain't no way these people reading this and putting this in the book. What are you talking about? They didn't have ain't no way.
And I always tripped off Jack and the Beanstalk, right? He would say, the giant would say, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Islam, the Europeans, ain't that where they like the Caucasus? You feel me? Like,
here go the skulls right here, more.
He's a foreigner.
Islam is. Not to mention that smell, they kind of smell like sulfur, because if you know the science, Islam, or like wet dog.
You know what I'm saying? Here go the pyramid heads right here. All the giant statues and heads. Like, clearly we existed then, we still exist now. And how he was saying, like, you know, they basically was trying to make their own breed, which is why they had to eventually get exterminated. You know what I'm saying? Because now they're going against the gods, and after they was already turning into that cannibalism shit and going against us. You know what I mean? And eat.
Yeah. Y'all get that book, The Delectable Negro? It's gonna tell you about.
And to be fair, it wasn't all of them, but
it wasn't all of them.
If a few do it, now that everybody get a bad rap. All the giants is evil.
Of course, that's how it look. You know what I'm saying? But this is this is the energy circuits that they've been using.
Islam, if I may say,
same thing what they did with the word with witches.
And
a wizard, you look at those words and you see it just mean wise woman, and you like, wait a minute, like, so they was doing this shit to wise women. You feel me?
The healers, the actual healers of the earth, the ones who were, you know what I'm saying, using the energy around them, which was this right here, that energy, because what other energy was there that we was harnessing to actually heal and move things and do shit? All this energy come from us. Like, they was using this energy. That's why when you see certain Mansa Musa, when he got the orc, they had that orc in their hand, right? Because that was a source of energy. You know what I'm saying? All this energy field that they, you know what I'm saying, they knew what to do. It was wild. But yeah, man, you know, I just wanted to share that to this evening with y'all. You know what I mean? I hope we all got, you know what I'm saying, a lot of this out of here. The world's largest pyramid is hidden under a mountain in Mexico. As we see this, right? The Pyramid of Giza is by far the most talked about but pyramid in the world, but it isn't the biggest. The title goes to the Great Pyramid of Cholula, an ancient Aztec temple. But what's on top of that? A Moorish architecture. That pyramid, you know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Big ass mountain in Mexico.
Islam. I was in the ad that I'm not sure. It could have been Cholula, but I don't remember which pyramid exactly. But they've also like
Pyramid of Cholula.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is,
I and also want to say all of that's still Allah. Whether you hear Cthulhu, Cthulhu, or Batala, it's still all aspects of Allah. Islam.
Islam.
Show you, right?
The only thing I was in the app.
Salud, mother. Islam.
Salud.
Bliss.
The only thing I was in the add is that in the oral traditions they say that some of the pyramids were helped built by giants as well.
Right. Exactly. Because where you think all those giant doorways were for, like, you know what I'm saying? All the megalithic things also was used by sound, but in vibration, but it also comes from the help of the giants. Yes.
There's also old like wives' tales in Mexico to this day. Like you go to the pueblos, that there's the elder women that still speak the language. They are able to speak supposedly with the giants because they spoke the old tongue, and that's why in Mexico, like, it's not common for people to speak, native tongue, Mexica, Nahuatl, but there are some pueblos out there that still do, and they like to keep it secret.
Also, just another side, when we speak about the giants, when you talk 500 Arabian Nights, or what inspired the Aladdin tales, the genies, the jinns, Islam, when you show the genie is always a giant, and he's always a color that's attained to a certain element, Islam. So, and then when you do the research on that, it says, oh, that these giants or these giants wasn't enslaved because of how they treated humanity previously. So what you was just speaking on, Islam, that came to mind as well, like David and Goliath, them using certain technologies to subdue these so-called bullies, so to say.
So the many allegories of the Wizard of Oz, like how we was just talking about that, right? And so this crazy because he broke it down so smooth. He basically was saying everything that we were saying. So most are aware the first ever color movie made public was The Wizard of Oz, and was full of allegories and parables. So basically knowing the hidden message between the divine, right? The metaphysical. So the yellow brick road was paved in gold, as the U.S. legal currency was then based on gold, right? Such was the movie The Wizard of Oz, an allegory of the state of affairs we now live in today, an allegory of the unfolding new world order that was instituted in America via the stock market crash, right? Of when? 1929, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and the bankruptcy of the United States in 1933. So now they're trying to take all the gold, right? Individual, the United States government employee, Title 5 USC, subsection 552A, the Internal Revenue Code, and all the state tax codes are in harmony with the above definition of individual. By reference, only a corporation of one is an artificial person constructed by law, not a living, breathing man or woman. An individual is a public corporate person existing only in the public government domain, having been created by law, not by God. So what's the straw man here? The straw man represented the legal straw man filled with hay and no standing in the 1930s, the all capital letter written name straw man. The name, you know what I'm saying? The newly
Islamism.
You know what I mean? The newly created artificial person, which is the 14th Amendment, that has no brain and speaks and acts for its once upon a time sovereign. You know what I'm saying? We are the sovereign. You and me was created while Americans were confused and distracted by the commotion caused by the introduction of the New World Order of communistic socialism to figure out that they even had a straw with which to contend. The Scarecrow identified the straw man persona for Dorothy. Thusly, some people without brains do an awful lot of talking. Of course, I'm not bright about doing things. The seating of this allegory in Kansas, the heartland of America, the geographical center of the USA, and the cane twister, the whirling confusion of the Great Depression, the stock market crash, the U.S. bankruptcy, and the theft of America's gold, that whisked Dorothy and Toto up into the new world of the up into the new order of the world in artificial new dimensions. So basically, when she went into the little dimension, her dream world, somewhere over the rainbow, above the solid ground of Kansas. When they landed on Oz, Dorothy committed her little dog, Toto. Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Exactly. After the bankruptcy of the United States, Kansas was no longer Kansas anymore. It was now KS, a 2-capital letter federal postal designation, that part of the federal zone designated by the zone improvement zip code established by the bankruptcy United States in 1933, and Dorothy and Toto were now in this state. The terms in this state meaning and the state, are deceptively defined for tax jurisdiction purposes as the District of Columbia, aka the United States Incorporated, or the corporate United States.
Now you see why they had to come with the Wiz after that.
Wow. Wow.
Directly affects you, Islam.
Wow.
Yep, the Wiz.
They said the dog had the most sense.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Not to mention, you notice that the monkeys, the witches' monkeys are blue, and they got tassels, they got feathers and tassels on. And then the witch, that's letting you know we came from a matriarchy where women was in high regard and ruling. Islam, she was so Islam.
So that's why they put the leprechaun in our face, trying to get the gold. I'm noticing that too.
Leprechaun was the Twa people. Islam,
Twa and the Pygmy, right?
Scotland and Ireland.
Yeah, but some of the
Moors.
The Twa and the Pygmy.
What's his name?
First one's from Mars.
Idi Amin was of that bloodline. Islam, that's why they called it Last King of Scotland.
You said the jaguar?
No. The Twa and the Pygmy and the talking about the
and the Europeans would put their feet on their stomach and all that because they had a more concentration of magic or spiritual energy within them. It's shorter. That's where the leprechaun things and stuff came from. So.
Oh, all right, yeah. I thought you said leopard.
Yeah.
E.T. Phone Home, Islam. It's all them giving us doses of our glorious past back because they know the fall was also a fall in consciousness and genetic memory.
And the
one on one after the gold too, and not no fiats.
Yes,
they did have feathers on. See, and then so the Tin Man, or the taxpayer identification number, man, is a hollow man of the tin, a vessel or a vehicle, newly created code words for or straw man. Just as a straw man has no brain, the Tin Man vessel vehicle has no heart. Both are artificial person. Person equals persona equals mask. One
RoboCop. Islam.
For real. Yeah, and the definition, that's one of the definitions of 10.
But you see what that's going through. It seemed like every character in that movie, they all
represent
this hellish time that we coming out of, that we just came out of. Islam that was already foreseen and prophesied Islam by the ancestors, and so you see they was putting it in all the entertainment all along.
All along. You know what I'm saying? So one of the definitions of
before you move forward, not to wisdom more, y'all check out that song Thank you for letting me be myself again. And look at the spelling of it on the record. It's thank you for letting me be myself. M-I-C-E elf, E-L-F. It's not what you think it is. And that more, you know, they was wearing turbans in that band, Islam. But listen to that song, Islam. So it's just as allegorical as this movie.
That shit's crazy. I can already hear that mice. Yeah, what are mice? You know what I mean? Oh,
I just from hearing you speak as well, Elnor, it occurred to me that you said that, you know, the movie
Fly in the
starts
Family
off.
Stones. Excuse me, Fly Islam. More, my apologies. Sly and the Family Stones is the name of that group.
Yeah.
No, but I see like a divine part in the movie. Far as in my mind, it's like they all was missing something, but all together they worked together and they had everything. That's why they all got to the place to handle the task, and that's what it's gonna take. Teamwork. We all gonna be missing something, but together we all know something. We all know more. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of the situation is joining as a team, knowing what each other is missing, being honest with each other, and you moving forward. You know what I mean, to complete the task.
Islam, and then you find out at the end, the wizard, he was just all smoke and mirrors. Islam.
Islam.
Yep. The main antagonist. That's crazy. You brought that up. The main antagonist in what's it called? You know, the Mexica history is Tezcatlipoca, and that translates to the smoking mirror. It would be the counterpart to
but have the understanding that the so-called Wicked Witch, she was using real magic. Islam, the wizard, was using tricks and subduing people with
psychology, that 120 degree.
Exactly.
So like with that persona mask, one of the definitions of the 10 with a Webster's dictionary was counterfeit. So the 10 man represented the mechanical and heartless aspect of commerce and commercial law, just like they say in mafia, as they throw you overboard, your feet in concrete over shoes, over shores, over shoes. Wait, as mafia, they throw you overboard, your feet in concrete over shoes, nothing personal. It's just business. So the lion in the story represents at one time fearless American people having lost their courage. And after a round with the IRS and defending your TIN man, dummy corporation, the vessel, vehicle, individual, employee, public, corporation, all capital letters, written name, artificial person, straw man, you lose your courage. You know what I mean? So basically that threat, duress, and coercion, those violations of 241 and 242, Title 18, you know, depriving you of your rights, pulling you over, running you off the highway and shit. Like, you know, that's your artificial person because they got you tied in this illusion of, you know what I'm saying, Dorothy, lost without being home, you know what I'm saying, not knowing you home. So perhaps you haven't known it, but the IRS has been dealing with you all along via your tin man under the hidden laws of commerce, which is trade, you know what I'm saying, human trafficking. Just like the tin man, commerce has no heart, and it's heartless to find the wizard. You'll have to follow the yellow brick road, the gold bar road, follow the trail of America's stolen gold, and you'll find the theft who stole it. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? But
Mom, you do gotta put that heart into the policy enforcer, and if they don't got it on their own, it's not.
Man, they don't. They sure don't, man. And that's part of them being mixed with the species. You know what I'm saying? And having that mix, like, you know, of course they still come from mother, but they don't have all the senses like we do. You know what I'm saying? I think we on 9, they got 6. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no, we got to teach them. That's why the prophets say when we get back into power, you know what I'm saying, treat them better than they did us, because then it's going to show, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be what it's always been. You know what I mean? Y'all are children. You know what I mean? Y'all been out of line. You know what I mean? Now we going to have order. Y'all either going to take some water or y'all going to have to, you know what I'm saying? Hey, drop the world on them. You know what I'm saying? We didn't already turn so many cheeks. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't already fled. We didn't already did that, bruh. But you know what I mean? When we on top, we gonna treat you right. But you know what I mean? You just might not be over here. You know what I mean? But yeah, more. I'm gonna go ahead and yield the floor for the rest of the evening. But yeah, man, it's a blissful build. I'm glad I was able to do this with y'all.
Hey, I love this presentation, more straight up.
Give thanks, man. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with a lot of these, you know, these books that I got and keep going through them with us, you know what I mean? Because the next one I'm gonna do is on this because I feel like a lot of us need to know the verbiage and case laws and actually be able to utilize like how Black's Law, you know, it'd be in Latin, right? And it's so profound and meaningful when you hear things in Latin. You be like, dang, that shit was really felt. But that's law, you know, it's really with law and it's with definition. So when I be reading through case laws and stuff, it's like, man, like what? Okay, it makes sense why we didn't get taught law. Because if we was taught to use this verbiage and the ways of the ancient, because you know the ancient English letter scholar like this, there's nothing ancient about English, but you know, but when you start to read, when I was reading this the other night, it was just like, wow, the flow of this. And I had came out of, you know, the right to travel book. And I'm like, yo, okay, I got a little flow chart I want to actually go through. And this right here is a treatise on arrest and improvement. Y'all could look this up and get this and just read a little bit of this. But I'm gonna go over this the next time. But just the verbiage and some of these, the unlawful detention of deprivation of liberties. And we know liberties is dealing with what we was just talking about, all of the rights, you know what I mean, within, you know what I mean, our liberties that were already set here. And the basis of the action of the tort, false imprisonment, actually seizure of land demands. So when you go through this and you read it and you like, okay, wait a minute, like, and then and right here it's going to give you the case laws citing from where all these things is from. So, you know, what's stare decisis? Once it's been ruled upon, that's standing in law. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It ain't no, oh no, what's that? Like, no, that's what it already is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you based on whatever situation you're dealing with these policy enforcers, with whatever suit, you know what I'm saying? And there's no injured party, your best preparation is having case laws lined up to just grill their ass with. You know what I'm saying? Because essentially you want to get them committing crime on the record. It's not even like, you know what I'm saying, you in there trying to bachelor them or anything. You'd be like, hey, you know what? I hear what you're saying, judge, but or magistrate, in my honor. But due to traffic, people versus battle, you know what I mean, traffic infractions are not a crime. You know what I'm saying? Or so it's like whatever statutes, rules, ordinances, you know what I mean? Those are for government officials only. You know what I mean? Ray versus Rodriguez, Self versus Ray, you know, so it's like a lot of those things come in handy, but it's just a lot of this. But this next time when we get back on the build and yeah, man, it's just fun sharing this stuff because I'm learning as well as everybody else, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I was like, really, I'm enjoying the feedback while going through the stuff so we actually can get it, you know what I'm saying, together because it's for the people, you know what I'm saying? It's for the people, it's for us, it's for our children, you know what I'm saying? It's for us to, you know what I mean? Just wake everybody up.
I love it. I love it. In Latin terms like corpus delicti, corpus kind of sounds like the Spanish cuerpo, which translates to body, bodily harm, bodily injury. All this stuff is starting to make sense too. And then like my last name, how is Toledo. I've been looking up on ancient Tula y Tula. And I was like reading what people had to say about, because it's also like in video games and stuff like that. Somebody was saying that Tulay is an Arabic name, and then La at the end ties into Allah, like the God, the name, and then God. And then I was thinking about it, Tulaitu, like Toledo, Tulaitu, and then La, Tulaitula. And it was like a city where everybody was Jews, Christians, and Muslims all got together. A lot of translations of books happened in that city. It was basically a city of scholarship. where kings from different parts of the world were trying to travel to soak up game. It's pretty interesting. Islam.
It was Talatla, Tulan. That was the city where Seaca Turpitzin made his empire, or
I
he
wonder if
established.
that's the Americas, but Tula was the one in Spain.
That was here in the Americas. It was here in what's it called, near Mexico City.
Yeah, it's all.
To this
it's
day,
all
they
tied
still have. I mean, they spell it different. Some
But yeah,
people
it's just like the vowels, how they're interchangeable.
LLOAN or TULAN. But yeah, it's Tolan, Tolun, Tula.
It's all the same, man. That's why even how y'all were saying that different Spanishes have different pronunciations and stuff like that. That's why I try not to be too hard on when people pronounce something differently, because we're all just trying to communicate the same thing. It's just on your side of the world we say it slightly different,
Believe it or not, when I was young, I used to talk with a Southern accent. I was raised by a Cajun lady on a military base.
Yeah, I got family in Alabama too. My niece, yeah, she speaks with a Southern accent. She's Honduran, Mexican.
Yep.
Yeah, Islam, man, that's bliss, because I got family from all over. My mom's she from Barbados, so she grew up around the East Coast and all through New York, Pennsylvania, shit like that before she came to Khalifa. And yeah, so it's crazy because I encountered some of my people from the South and stuff like that, and you can just hear like, oh man, the dialect, you know what I'm saying? Like we call it slang, but yet it's just different versions of how we would say it in the area that we grew up in, you know what I'm saying? And so it all meaning the same thing, most words, like just how we just put a little s at the end. I think it's called what's the word called? It's something to call when they do that, when they switch one word to the other or one letter from one side to the other. I think it's called an anagram. And like taking a word and flipping it and it's to mean something else, like words, and then you take the s off of there and put it in the front. Now you got swords, you know what I'm saying? And it has a whole nother meaning, but it came from one word. You know what I mean? Just how Morocco, America, a Mexum, Olmex, a Mexum, you know what I'm saying? Mexico, Mexico, Olmec, a Mexico. It's all coming from one of the main sources of words. But yeah, man, this was bliss, man. I get
like live is devil, red rum is murder.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this Blaze. Yair, this is what I was talking about with that the 1906 Morocco General Acts. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this right here. So in 1906, this was with that they had all these, look, King of Italy, His Majesty, the Sultan of Morocco, Her Majesty, Queen of Netherlands, His Majesty, King of Portugal, Algiers, Majesty, Emperor of Russians, His Majesty of Sweden, you know what I'm saying? And they all had this meeting. So basically, this is 1906. What's going on in 1906? World fairs, you know what I'm saying? Louisiana Purchase, you know what I'm saying? All this shit. So it's clear that all of these people knew who we were and what was going on and in this act, you know what I'm saying? So that was just during that Eisenhower shit, you know what I'm saying? But what I was going to get into as well, but that all come later. But yeah, man, this was a great build. More, I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? I give thanks for the energy and all, man, because this was needed, especially for me to come out of that. You know what I mean? I don't be doing it as much. You know what I mean? I need to, start doing it more, and have a collective build with everybody like this. So, you know what I mean? It'll start flowing more naturally because we, you know what I mean? We need to build with our people.
Islam.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna go over these Barbary treaties right here as well. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I mean. Same thing. Yeah, Empress. Okay.
My brother always mentions this room. This movie called something Room. I forget, but it was basically how everybody was trapped inside a building where one person was contracted to build it, but they didn't tell him what it was for. And then everybody was basically good at different things, but they were all turning against each other. And everybody was already thinking like, man, just kill the dumb guy already.
Are you talking about Escape Room?
Yeah, that one, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I guess the dumb guy that was the biggest piece of the puzzle I never watched it, but my brother was telling me about that. So yeah, we all got to work together.
Islam, it's almost allegorical for the Tower of Babel and that time.
Hey, that right there, Brother Ben, the Tower of Babel, who destroyed that?
Well, my understanding, I would say Enlil, it's supposed to, Enki. Inky would be on this side, they would say ancient America would be the Amaru, which would be more, right? Amaru Incan Empire, right? So then you would have Enlil, who some refer to as the sky gods, or and without me getting so deep into that, because that's so deep, you feel me?
Nah, it is more, but I only brought it up because I was watching come on. All right, wait, what was I watching? I was watching
he was for sure a jealous God. He told you himself.
Nah, but it's
Almighty Allah is not jealous.
What's the anime? Yeah, but they was trying to build that to the heavens, that Tower of Babel. They was trying to build it to heaven, right? Now
but how do we know that wasn't rightfully so?
But that's true. But then when they destroyed it, because I heard somebody, because when I was watching the show and then I heard Loki destroyed it, and I was like, wait, why did Loki destroy the Tower of Babel? But then I was like, wait a minute, when I heard about that and why it got destroyed, that's when Yeshua took the thousands of years off of man and only had him live up to 150. You know what I'm saying? That's
right. They say that Loki is also Enlil is also Zeus, and that he came back in many different incarnations to do the same BS, and we had to stop him every time.
Every time, and that's right. Islam. But I'm think of this damn anime. What the fuck is it called, yo?
You see, he's trying to turn everybody into robots now, and that's real time what's going on. So you didn't take the vaccine, more power to you. You listening to yourself, Islam. And the fight is deeper now. It's not more so physical. It's a spiritual fight now.
But that spiritual fight been centuries.
Fight with self.
I think you're talking about Attack on Titans.
No. I'm about to pull it up right now because I want to, just in case people want to check that show out. But it's an anime, and it's basically the humans versus the gods, and it's basically they're going at it to see if the humans could get another 500 years on Earth. You know what I'm saying? And
the humans would be, you have to understand human and man, and what you and you are what you say you are, and you separate yourself. When you separate yourself from Black Islam, you kind of separating yourself from like you was reading earlier about the scarecrow, and the scarecrow, I self Lord and Master, you having your own Lord, Islam, but the Christian Black codes, you have a governing Lord of hosts over you. It's a difference.
Man, I was reading the secret book, Gospel of John, I believe, or one of them disciples, because I was just going through RV Bay publications, and they have like a matriarch study group for women, and it was like for them to join it. It said that they should read that book first, and it basically talks about that, how Yaldabaoth created the material realm, which he was a god who broke off from the higher source without permission, and when he created us,
what part, mother?
We became better, not better, but we had the the Most High, we have a piece of the Most High in us, so we can tap into to
The thing
I
about
don't
it,
know.
the thing about Enlil is when the Christianity thing, you have people who is genuinely trying to help people ascend spiritually, Islam. So when you look at the Medu Neter and the prophet say, I'm an Egyptian adept, that's a real religion. If we want to classify with a religion that's actually something that helps you elevate spiritually, Egyptology or the Medu Neter, that's what that really is.
But
Islam. You have people who came late. People who came late to this plane, and they saw what we was doing. So, we're going to take this information and use it to enslave people. That's pretty much what the Christianity and the Christian black and all that is, which is like they really don't care about. But you can, you read the Biblios, you can still see the ancestors' wisdom and the truth that they tried, or the Inky and the the first ancestors tried to leave for us, the Orishas. You can see it in there if you really got your heart on aligned with your mind. It's fine.
Islam, man. That's bliss. That's bliss, y'all. This is a good bill, y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all energy. You know what I'm saying? I could do this all day, you know what I mean? Especially since it's a holy day, you know what I mean? I'm fresh off work, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, shoot, I'm enjoying this because, this is what we would do, you know what I mean? We sit and build, you know what I mean?
It's a new move.
Yeah, that's, you know what I mean? I think it was in Taurus too, going into
Taurus.
Yeah, so I'm like, sheesh, Taurian energy for me right now, grounding myself and just balancing it all right now, because so it's bliss.
The darkness. That's where the creation comes from.
I was in a ad earlier. What's it called? You brought up that in the movie it starts off in black and white and then it moves into color. And when they move into color, it's she mentions that they're not in Kansas anymore. And to me, like now, thinking back on it, it's like you're now in their realm of color of law. I feel like that's a subliminal or a what's it called, allegorical reference.
Yeah, it's all with law. Everything is dealing with law. You know what I'm saying? Everything is universal, natural, divine.
Islam, even having your heart and mind aligned, that's a law to receive a certain consciousness. Islam.
Right, you know what I'm saying? For real. Because in matter of fact, let me go to the other ones. It's where that. I just read that the other day and I was like, man, that's crazy because Sanguini. What's going on? But it's law, man. That's that. It's in our kinship. Come on, that page.
You think that legal positivism stuff is a trap?
Legal polyism? What
no, positivism. That's basically like saying that laws don't have to be lawful. If the certain regime, like if it could be an evil law.
See, that sounds, what that sounds like? That sounds like mob rule, which sounds like democracy.
That sounds like a legality, because you understand lawful is universal. Even if you look it up in the Black's Law, legalities, those are the little BS laws that man make up for his ego and that you talking about. You know what I'm saying? The carnal aspect.
Yeah. Because, common law, it starts at common law, and then it goes into divine law. When divine law is natural law. And then you got just Gentium, which is international law. And then you got the exercise of substantive rights. And then you got treaty rights. And then you got Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And then you got United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Then you got the Vienna Convention of the Law of Treaties, you know what I'm saying, done at Vienna on the 23rd of May. and then you got the Supreme Court case decisions, and then you got the acts of state, and then the acts of Congress. You know what I'm saying? So
does it go in that order?
Yeah, that order, right? You know what I'm saying? Common law, supreme law of the land, you know what I'm saying? And all the treaties supersede, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So common law, divine law, natural law, jus gentium, international law, you know what I mean? Exercise the substantive rights, treaty rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, and then the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties, and then Dunning, which was at the Vienna, and then the Supreme Court case decisions, and then the acts of state, and then acts of Congress. Yeah, man. That's bliss right here, right here. I mean, this was really bliss. But yeah, man, the next session I'm gonna go over some law and then the rights of indigenous people and stuff like that. And then yeah, man, just a little bit of that. Then I'm gonna jump back into that treaties, wherever it's at, somewhere on the board. But yeah, Morris, you know what I'm saying? I came in the door, jumped in, got straight into this. I'm finna get ready to get in this water. But yeah, man, I hope the rest of the Morris, y'all have a blissful, wonderful evening, man. I hope y'all holy day was bliss and everything is blissful for all y'all, man. Yeah, give thanks for y'all energy.
Happy holiday, Morris.
Happy holiday.
Happy
holiday.
Noble. Enjoy your night,
everybody. Islam.
Islam. Supreme love, Morris. Peace and love.
Thank you.